Hello. I kind of wanted to just, since Darktide is entering its twilight, I just wanted to talk about where everything lands kind of objectively on the power scale. I'm pretty confident in where everything's going to rank here. I have a guest with me this time.
Hello, it's me, Jefficus. Hi.
So this is going to be a pretty standard tier list for people that are like me and tier list for basically everyone else. All right. So shredders are absolutely game breaking, and I don't think anyone denies it at this point. Shredders do everything. They stun, they do a shit ton of damage. You generate a million of them. You generate more of them than you can pick up on the map. Just having one veteran effectively like triples the amount of grenades on a map. And since shredders just do everything in every situation all the time, there's never a bad time to use them. You can be grabbed by a burgle or a chaos spawn and drop these at your feet and just get out of it. You can kill bulwarks with these. You can kill stacks of armor with these and uncanny. They synergize with your melee. They synergize with your gun traits. They synergize with everything. It is impossible to use shredders wrong. You can throw them at gunners to knock them over and stop them from shooting to let you reposition, which just effectively makes them better smoke grenades. Like, there's just so much in their favor that it's like they just do everything. And they're going to get S tier for more casual Joes because they can't really use them as effectively. They're just not going to throw them to their max potential because it's more about volume of throwing. How many of these you can throw out than getting maximum value per throw.
They also just get uncapped AoE damage, similar to something like the Inferno staff.
Yeah,
And anything
seriously.
that is a source of uncapped AoE damage is just absolutely broken, especially when you pair this with like Uncanny Strike, which you're going to have up all the time in something like Havoc 40.
Yeah, if you use power DI, which is basically just better scoreboard, you'll notice that explosion and bleed, even if this is your only source of it, it's going to encompass like 30+% of your damage. Like, grenades genuinely make up like a third of your damage in Havoc as veteran, even if you use dueling sword and plasma gun. Honestly, dude, in my experience, plasma gun makes up a third of my damage. Grenades make up a third of my damage, and dueling sword makes up another third of my damage. Which is
Yeah.
funny enough. That's kind of like exactly how veteran was designed for the everything to everything to synergize like that. All right, crack grenades are garbage. My opinion of these has only gotten worse as time has gone on. These suck. Plain and simple, they suck. Even if they had a 50% increase in their AoE, and let's just assume for the sake of the argument, every single time they always kill 2 bulwarks, 2 crushers, etc. They're still not good because you only get 2 of them. So what? They're capped at killing 4 crushers per grenade pickup. The biggest problem with these is they don't do enough. There's the problems are multifaceted. One, they don't have enough utility. They don't really knock anything over like they can, but if they're in the dude, the knockdown range versus the kill range is only a few meters apart. So like if it's going to knock down, it's probably just going to kill. So they don't knock stuff over. They don't spread the damage out to everything at the same time. And you can only hold 2 of them, which means you can't really min-max them. If you min-max your throws on shredders, you could throw over 100 of them easily in Havoc 40. Like my max is like 150 in one game. For cracks, you're only throwing like what, like 40 of them tops, just because of the wonkiness of the generation like timings with only having 2 of them. That seriously, if you could hold just one more fucking crack grenade, it would increase the amount of them you could throw by like 200%. Just because you'd have the freedom to not override your procs, which means you don't have to worry about losing your procs, which means you end up procking more because there's no chance to overwrite.
Yeah,
And
and the increased damage of these is never worth it, even for something like a boss. Just because there's so many things in the game that do a lot of damage, like you got to consider like DPS, damage per second. When you pull this out, throw it, the time that it takes to explode, you've probably already stabbed 3 times with your dueling sword, which is pretty much the same amount of damage. And then the point tax that you have to take to get to
yeah,
survivalist aura
I
when you
I
hit
actually
this.
I actually think that's the most important thing, what you just mentioned. The time it takes you to pull one of these out, pull the pin, throw it, and then for it to charge up and explode, you can get 3 to 4 dueling sword stabs in. And if the crits roll in your favor just slightly, it's going to out damage these. Like, if you have one veteran with unlimited grenades, and you have one veteran that just has like a 70% crit chance with a dueling sword, they're probably going to kill a boss at about the same time. Maybe the
Yep.
cracks kill it like 15% faster, but it's like, dude, is it worth giving up everything shredders do for that? Like, honestly? And then you consider again, these do like 12k per throw. Okay, Havoc bosses have like 90,000 health. So what the fuck? You're only doing like 20% damage to the boss, roughly like 25%. And it's like, okay, so what do you do when you've thrown both of them and you have no more? Like, if this is your main source of damage for that, if you got to do 500,000 boss damage in a run and you're only throwing, what, 30 of these per run, maybe maximum, like, okay, are you just going to exclusively save every single throw for them? Well, at that point, you're never going to be down grenades. You're never going to generate. Like, they just don't synergize with anything. And then there's nothing you can put on your melee weapon that makes them better. And here's a crazy thought. You don't always want to kill the crusher. Let's say you're in an airlock, because someone's going to show me that Reddit clip where one guy kills like 7 maulers and crushers with one crack grenade. But can I postulate a theory at you for a second? Using a shredder to knock one crusher over so that nothing can enter the airlock, but everything stays stacked up behind it so that your zealot can flame them, your bleeds can apply to the horde as well, and your psyker can put flame staff on them, is actually more valuable than just killing like 7 armored guys at once. Because one, the bleed plus uncanny will kill them after like 5 seconds, but it will also keep them in place so that nothing can run in behind them. So you just have this wall of enemies that are locked in place on a guaranteed death clock, and that bleed will have spread to everything around them as well. So you're killing more guys that aren't the elites. And it's like, even when cracks are at their absolute best, I unironically think shredders still do their job just better.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then even for casual players, I thought about this. I think
I
it
think,
is actually D. I don't think it's C anymore, mostly because the veteran has options in some of the lower difficulties, maybe like while you're leveling up to deal with Carapace if you ever run into it, which is not often. And then if you're talking about like Auric, then you're getting to the point where the person is looking at saving points on the talent tree for their build and also trying to utilize all the utility that Shredder Frag grenades bring to the table.
yeah, that's the other issue with crack grenades. You either have to waste a point to take Survivalist or take arguably the worst aura in the entire game. And it's like, okay, so like, dude, even if shredders and cracks were swapped, it would still be worth it to take shredders. Like, these did not need the bonus nerf of the point tax. Cracks are
Yep.
just really, really bad. Cracks are one of those things where the better you get at the game, the worse they are. Like, every single person that I talked to pretty much universally agreed with me in private that cracks are arguably one of the worst grenades in the entire game. They might actually just be the worst grenade in the entire game. Like, now that I'm looking at this, unironically, it's got to be between cracks and like box. Like, everything else is just better at something and does something. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, cracks might actually just be the worst grenade in the game. If not, they are at least tied for it with Ogrins. Like, it is hard because like everything else on here has something, some kind of build, some kind of synergy, some kind of unique quirk that at least makes it so like, okay, I can understand why you'd like that even if I don't think it's good. Cracks don't have anything, especially because we're in an era where you can just one shot everything that these one shot can get one shot by the dueling sword without giving up the insane utility of the other 2 grenades. So like, and dude, honestly, at the very fucking least, man, let us hold like 3 or 4 of them and make them explode immediately on impact. Like, I just don't understand. You know what? These should explode immediately on impact, and they should
Yeah,
also
they
get
need to.
They should also get weak spot damage. Like, if I throw this thing at a boss, it should be chucked like a baseball and not hutched like a grenade. Let me just chuck it in a straight line like a baseball or a spear. And if I fucking make it like the fastball grenade from Borderlands, where it's just a straight, it's basically just a projectile. And if it hits the head, it does double damage. Then it would actually be good as a boss killer. And like, fuck it, man. Why not? Like, at this point in the game's life with the dueling sword, fuck it. Why not? You know? Because, like, es-
Absolutely.
especially if we're only going to be holding two of them. You know what's funny about that? If we're only going to be holding two of them, let's say I try to throw it at a Beast of Nurgle weak point, I miss one and then hit the other one. That's the same damage as if it just worked the way it did now and I just threw them both at it. So, like, at least give me the potential to make them better. Okay. Smoke grenades are garbage. And if you're a new player, they actively hurt you. Smokes are horrible. And smokes are horrible in a multifaceted amount of reasons. One, they're not consistent enough to really be good. And I'm going to shut down at this counterpoint that I know someone's going to make about Havoc. If these were so good at dealing with gunners and they were so consistent and strong, why didn't my group, the first group to clear Havoc 40, or any of the other groups that came right after us, even consider using them? Either we all just forgot they existed, or we all just independently came to the conclusion that they just weren't good enough. Because Havoc 40 is where gunners are. Gunners in Havoc 40 are the most dangerous they will ever be, probably in the game's lifespan, like in any game mode ever. And yet, all of the best players that were all trying to be the first to beat it, every single one of us agreed it wasn't worth using. Why is that? Are we all just wrong and stupid, or is there actually something to that? It's because there's actually something to it. And the biggest issue is consistency. There
Yep.
is no timer on the screen. At the very fucking least, they need to add a timer that lets you know when the smoke is dissipating. Like, it is insane that you can die to a single standard gunner on Havoc in like 30 frames. And this is supposed to protect you from them, but I can't even get a little widget on my screen that tells me when the smoke's going to fade. Because are you really counting down the 15 seconds mentally in your head? Like, that is such a chore. But like, if there's just 2 or 3 seconds where the smoke is down, the time it takes you to pull one out, drop it, and have the smoke spread, it's like 3 seconds. So what? 1 second human reaction time to like recognize the smoke is going away. 3 seconds for the smoke to reactivate. Okay, so what? You're standing in the open hoping the smoke protects you. 4 second downtime on it against Havoc Gunners. Yeah, dude, fucking half the team's probably dead if you're actually depending on this. And if you're not depending on it, why are you using it? And mind you, this has to be better than a shredder, which you can just fucking throw at the gunners and kill them.
Yeah, and the counterpoint would be like these have been used in speed runs and in challenge runs and stuff like that. And yes, they can be used, but it kind of is fulfilling the same role as book, which is kind of doing the same thing where it's just suppressing gunners while your entire team is just running through and you're just rotating the book zealot by zealot and just kind of cheesing the run. So yes, you can cheese a run with these, but there are only a handful of players in the world that are going to even be able to do that.
Dude, if these things are so fucking bad that just using them is considered a challenge run, I think that speaks
Yeah.
volumes to how garbage these actually are. I don't even know of a challenge run using smokes, but if one exists, that alone speaks fucking bad just to how bad these actually are. That using them is such a downgrade from everything else that it's considered an extra layer of challenge. And if you're a new player, like, I want you to consider this. If you're a new player, people don't even have the like situational awareness to recognize that specials are even spawning in the first place, let alone the reaction time to go from 10 meter dodges to 6 meter dodges. So like, I don't even want to get into that shit because
Oh
like,
yeah.
the only way these are good against specials is if you're dedicating yourself to killing like every disabler and you're going to use this as a means to give you extra time to react and kill them before they even enter the smoke. And like, that's okay, I guess. But man, if you fuck up just one time, now your teammates have to dodge something way tighter than normal that they aren't expecting and they're probably getting hit by it. And I don't know, man. It's just it needs to be the Barden ultimate. It just needs to give your team 30% gun damage when standing in it. There you go. Smokes are fixed.
Yeah, that'd be nice. The other thing to consider, especially for casual players, is that the point tax really starts to add up with this because it's super far on the right side of the tree. and it's close to like close and kill, but there isn't really anything worth it in
You know what?
between the
Good
smoke
point.
grenade
Let
and
me
close and kill. And newer players don't really take advantage of movement speed like hardcore players do.
That is an excellent point that you just brought up, and I kind of want to show this off. Smokes and close and kill. Let's just get this out of the way right now. The one of the biggest problems with these is this shit. This shit right here. So, like, Out for Blood is one of the best talents on the entire tree. So then you come here. So let's say we take smokes. Okay, if we want the best aura in the game, we got to spend 1, 2, 3 points. Boom. Okay, that's like 3 points we just wasted. That's 10% of our build. Maybe we want this aura. Okay. I mean, this node is okay. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great. Unless you're using Mercy Killer, and if you are, stop. Then like this sucks. And then this aura is really strong, but like again, it's not survivalist. And now if we want to take shout, like now we have to waste 1 point. We go from wasting like 3 points to 1. So it's like there is no way to incorporate these in a build and take the good aura or the good ultimate without wasting unnecessary points.
Yep.
And again, these are already bad enough that they just don't need that extra tax. Okay, close and kill. The actual effect of this fucking aura, this is the move speed aura for those of you who are just listening to this. 5% move speed for the team is an S tier effect. This is crazy.
It's
The
really
dueling
good.
sword and the knife let you sprint faster than the horde can catch up to you, and they only give you a 7% sprint speed increase. So 5% sprint speed increase basically puts like a lot of weapons at that tier where just sprinting lets you outrun the horde, which is very good, especially if you combine it with the 5% move speed from Out for Blood. Then guess what? The veteran is now just consistently moving at 10% move speed. You can bring a weapon like the power sword and move like it's just on par with the horde. If you bring close and kill plus that 5% move speed plus weapon specialist and you incorporate dodges, you can actually like kind of outrun the horde even with like a negative 5% move speed weapon, which is insane. The problem is exactly the same problem that smoke grenades run into. If you go into this, you either have to take arguably one of the worst abilities in the entire game, or you have to, you know, waste a point, boom. Okay, well, that wasted point means no on your toes, which, okay, so that's literally going to be like 50% of your toughness generation over an entire mission just gone. You just generate half as much toughness now. Or maybe you don't take Desperado. Okay, there goes a quarter of your damage and 10% of your crit chance. So like 30% of your overall damage profile is just gone. Okay, maybe you don't take superiority. You see what I'm saying? Like you're either giving up a large chunk of your complete damage profile, a huge chunk of your survivability. Like that 1 point actually comes back to be a pretty big fucking problem. And like it just doesn't need that tax. But man, and the problem is 5% move speed for allies in coherency, especially when if you're taking this, you're probably smart enough to take Out for Blood, which means you're getting that 5% move speed boost. That means you, the veteran, you're always moving at a rate of 10% faster. That means if you're using like the knife or the dueling sword, you're sprinting with stamina plus dueling sword plus those two move speed nodes. You, the veteran, you're sprinting like 20 something percent faster than everyone else on the team. So like this is going to make you run out of coherency faster. So like there's like anti-synergy. So I'm going to put this down here just because this is a particular aura. Honestly, I'm going to say something. I don't think aura should be coherency skills. I think coherency should be removed from the game and aura should just universally apply to everyone all the time. And if that
That
was
would
the
be pretty
case,
dope.
if that change ever gets made, I would fucking raise this shit all the way like up here. But until then, no, this has to stay down here. Because the problem with this, let's say you're running back from a horde kiting it. If you move out of coherency for even a second, and someone is using like a Devil's Claw sword, and they're depending on this to be able to go faster than the horde, well, guess what? Now they aren't going faster than the horde. Now the horde catches up. They aren't paying attention to their coherency bar. They don't fucking know that you just got out of coherency because even if they are looking at the buff, they don't know it's you that left coherency. And like the average player can't tell fucking 5% move speed just from looking at it. And it's like, okay, So now they get swarmed and they get fucked, and like, what do you do now? And for casuals, it's the exact same thing. I think
Yeah.
it's D tier as well.
And then the last thing to mention for this is if you are going to be taking something like Shredder Frag Grenade, then you're taking a point tax to get to the movement speed aura here.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's just like, well, now I'm kind of choosing, do I want to take shredders or do I want to be a meme and run
exactly.
smoke?
So this is the issue
Like,
right here. So look, you go boom, 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 boom. Best blitz in the entire game right here. But then you have to go boom, boom, boom. Take 2 underwhelming nodes, though. To be fair, this one is actually really good. I honestly, the more I think about it, the more I actually kind of like this node. I just wish it was like 7 seconds, and then boom, boom, boom. So you're spending 1, 2, 3 points. You're spending 10% of your build to take this aura. 10% of your build is getting dedicated just to this aura. And mind you, if you run faster than your teammates, which you have this, so you definitely are, like, no. Auras, even survivalist, auras in general just are not strong enough to justify giving up 10% of your build for them. Speaking of survivalist, thanks to Havoc, thanks to the fact that Havoc takes ammo away from pickups but doesn't touch survivalist, it's still just 1% stock for all 4 players. So it's every kill is giving 4% ammo back. Dude, an ammo tin on Havoc, 4 ammo tins on Havoc is like 4% ammo. So like this is like every kill is giving you like 50% of an ammo tin effect or some shit like that. This is crazy. Havoc has made this crazier. In previous iterations of this video, I only put Survivalist in S tier. No, Havoc makes this shit game breaking. The more I think about it, the more it is just completely game breaking. This is the only aura in the entire game where if it's not active, you know it's not active. You're like, okay, this is not, like, it's just not, it's, you can tell. It is.
yeah, it's also like it's key for a lot of different playstyles as well because the veteran is typically looting all the ammo on the map, especially if they're using something like the plasma gun.
Yeah,
And
because they get the
so,
biggest
like,
gun
you're
bonuses, so their gun does the most damage out of anyone, so they get the most efficient use of
exactly.
ammo.
So, but like, if like a zealot has a flamer or something, like this is pretty much their source of just ammo right here. It's just this one aura because the zealot is just not really looting any ammo whatsoever. And then like maybe an ogren with a
Dude,
rumbler or
dude,
kickback or
yo, no, no, no,
whatever.
no.
Like,
Best example, the kickback. An Ogren with a kickback without Survivalist has to eat like 40% of the ammo pickups on the map to not be dry the entire game. Whiffs just having Survivalist, they don't have to pick up any because
you're pretty much good.
every kill gives them like 1 bullet. And it only shoots 1 bullet at a time. So like they effectively like the kickback, which is Ogren's like best weapon by the way, this aura gives the best weapon on Ogren effectively unlimited ammo.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And then you consider that it's right next to Shredders, so you don't have to waste any points to take it. And it's like, oh my god, this is a very similar situation to the Zealot, where all of the best shit is like just in one line. All right, Fire Team. Garbage. 5% is not enough. It needs to be like 7 to 10%. Then we can talk.
Yeah, they
And
need to just change the effect on the aura in general, in my opinion. Like if it was like 20% damage for monstrosities for your entire team, I think that'd be freaking dope.
yeah, something like that would be good. Or like, man, it can't be like elite damage because Psyker already has that. Which why? Why? You know what? You know what? Fuck this. Change this off of. You know what this should be? This should straight up just be like adds 10% damage to elites and specialists, adds 15% damage to trash mobs, adds like 20% damage to monster, something like that. Like obviously you'd have to change the numbers a bit, but like 5% damage. The only time I could ever see this being taken ever is to combo with the 10% damage from mark target. That way you can have 15% damage to your dots. But veteran can't really
Yeah.
stack multiple dots, so that's not super valuable. But if you're playing a grenade vet with like bolt pistol and like grenades are making up 50% of your damage, giving 50% of your damage a 15% damage increase makes it do like 65% of your damage now. So like maybe that's substantial enough.
Yeah, you're just not going to be giving up survivalists though. Like, there's no situation where you give up survivalist for 5%
Yeah, the
damage.
the only time you can ever justify this is if there's a second veteran. Like, I
Yeah.
just want to put out the situation here. The only time you could ever justify bringing this is if one, you're going to play bolt pistol grenader vet, and you have another person playing veteran to bring survivalist. Because in any other
Yeah.
situation, if you're playing any other build, why? It's better to just have two survivalists to make sure everyone's always benefiting from the effect. And like, if you don't have two veterans, not bringing survivalists is like the ultimate dick move in Havoc. And yeah, it's the same thing. Oh shit. I forgot the rate. Survivalist is S tier for fucking,
It says tier. Yeah.
yeah, for average Joes as well. Infiltrate. I think Infiltrate fucking sucks. I think Infiltrate's
Yeah.
bad.
And I do have a solo 3 veg with infiltrate, but it's a very practiced run, good RNG. Like, there's just so many things that kind of work in my favor for that run.
Yeah, it was
But for
also on
regular
fucking
runs,
Archivum. It was also on
yeah,
Archivum, the
yeah, it was on the
easiest
noob
map.
map, the easiest map. This doesn't do anything for you as a
Yeah, no,
veteran.
I was
Like,
in a previous take of this video, I was kind of thinking about this. Like, this literally does nothing.
yeah,
I don't know if anyone like how well read you guys are on this, but if you actually read this, it literally does nothing. It gives you all your toughness back. Okay, cool. Puts you in invisibility, which we'll talk about that, and gives you 25% movement speed. Like, all of the effects of this are nodes you need to put points into. And this is kind of the big
yeah,
issue with Infiltrate. This needs to be like 20 seconds long. This needs to be like 20 seconds long. Make those two changes, and this becomes like an A tier ultimate. Don't have those two changes, and this is a D tier shit ultimate. It's only
yeah. And
good.
in Vermintide 2, the huntsman basically had like super infiltrate.
Yes.
That's basically what this should be. It should be the Huntsman's ult. It's flavored the same way too. Huntsman is a ranged class, precision based. Like, that's exactly what Darktide Infiltrate needs to be. And I'm kind of surprised it's not.
Yeah, Infiltrate needs to just give you like 100% headshot damage, and every headshot needs to reset the duration. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Wait a second. I just made Huntsman Kruber.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do I
And then
even
for casuals, Infiltrate's also bad. A lot of people will take this because they want to go for the res, but you could just do that with voice of command. So it's just
Is and the
never
grenade. You
worth
just drop
taking.
a
And grenades,
grenade
yeah.
and hit a you just drop a grenade or two or shout, and there you go. You have the res. All right. Let's get the elephant out of the room. I honestly want to make a tier above game breaking just for this, because this thing is going to the top of game breaking. This is
Yeah, just put it
probably
to the top. Yeah.
I think I th- hold on.
No, it doesn't. You don't need
Hold
a
on.
new tier.
No, no, no,
It's
no, 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 no,
good.
no. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on,
Gold
hold on.
toughness. The gold toughness tier.
I don't even know what to call this tier. Like,
Gold, all caps.
why? I'm just gonna call it why.
Yeah.
This fucking ability right here. We need the I want I'm this thing's getting its own video. I think this is the best thing in the game. It has, realistically speaking, a 7-second cooldown, gives everyone on the team 30 to 50% more toughness depending on their class and trinket selection. It gives them gold toughness. It raises their base toughness. It stacks with their toughness generation. It stacks with their toughness damage reduction. It stacks with other versions of itself. It has a stun attached to it. It gives you all your toughness back, including other sources of gold toughness. It will restore it as if it were base toughness. And there is no thinking involved. You just press the button whenever it glows. I think this is the most brain dead, overpowered thing in any Tide game ever. I cannot think of anything in Vermintide 1 or Vermintide 2 or Darktide where it is as simple as thing glows, press button, everyone on the team becomes like twice as strong as they just were. Like, gold toughness is a fucking problem. Not having to
Yeah, I
worry
think it's
about
the
pox
gold toughness
bursters,
that breaks it.
not having to worry about pox bursters or snipers or any form of bleed through. So, 3 fundamental mechanics. Specials that ignore toughness, punishing you for going all in on it, are ignored with this. And just all of the combat mechanics, the risk reward of Should I potentially take some chip damage here? All of that goes away. This single ability fundamentally alters how you approach every single interaction in the game. Like, it is honestly kind of hard to put into perspective just how good this is. And unlike Chorus, it doesn't even stop your actions. Dude, you can shout as you're pulling out a grenade and dropping it to set up a second stun to re-stun enemies after the first stun from this ends. And it's just like, oh my god. Like, this shit gives you more crowd control than Smite, on top of giving everyone 30+% more toughness. It's just so, like, you could write a novel on how poorly designed this ability is.
Yeah. And it's the same for casuals too.
Yeah,
It's
it's
basically going
game-breaking.
to carry almost all teams.
Yeah, if you're playing on Heresy or lower, one person spamming this on cooldown without thinking, unironically will take you from maybe, like, struggling to winning every single game every single time.
Yeah.
Because anytime there's fighting going on, you just press the button, and now everyone on your team is significantly stronger.
It's also
Like,
right next to demo stockpile, which
yeah,
I think is like top 3
and hold on.
veteran
I was just about to get to this. So look, Shout is located next to Demolition Stockpile, which is like one of the best talents in the entire game, which enables Shredders, which are right next to Survivalist, which is only 1 point away from this Voice of Command. And you've also got Field Improv here. And it's like, dude. And honestly, if you're playing Havoc 40, Twinned Blast is not terrible.
Twin Blast is good too.
If you're throwing out over 100 grenades, this ends up being 20 extra grenades. Like, that's getting to where Demo Stockpile and Demo Team are, and those are worth running. So, like, you might consider just dropping 1 point here and here. So it's just like, oh my god, man, there is so much goodness in this.
And then Executioner stance.
I think
Which
this is.
I don't
this
think
is
it's
mid.
good.
I think it's
Yeah,
mid.
I think it's okay. I think that for newer players, it's going to help you with your aim a little bit, but it's not worth taking over Voice of Command.
So I think it's
And
not
then
worth
for
taking. I think it's not worth taking over Voice of Command. My only problem with that is if I rated everything on the list with that mentality, then, like, a lot of things would
everything would be really bad. Yeah, that's true.
everything would either be D tier or like S tier, and there would be no in between.
Yeah.
So in a vacuum, if we don't consider that you aren't taking this as part of the weakness of this, then, like, in a vacuum, the actual effectiveness of this is pretty good. Like, the damage bonus isn't needed, but it's nice. The wall hacks, though. So if you're an experienced player, then this ability just morphs into the ability to spawn kill every single specialist in the game with the plasma gun. Like, they spawn in, you have this activated, before they even play their spawn sound effect, you see them spawn in, and you're boom, 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 and you're just racking up like 20 fucking specialist kills during an event, and they don't even get a chance to do anything. If you're not using this with the plasma gun, I think it's fucking garbage. But with the plasma gun, I think it's okay. Yeah, I really do not have much else to say. It's the wall hacks. The wall hacks are always good in every video game, and it's no exception in Darktide.
Yeah, and there used to be a place with it with the Vrax as well, like the best auto gun in the game, but the Recon Laskin kind of outclasses the Vrax on pretty much every level now.
Speaking of that, Marksman's Focus going into D tier. Marksman's Focus.
Yep.
This is D tier for people like me, and this actively hurts you for worse
new players.
So Marksman's Focus used to actually be usable. Let me take it back real quick on you. There used to be a gun called the Columnus Mark V, and it used to be arguably the best gun in the entire game. It was a auto gun. It's now called the Vrax, and it, with maximum stacks of this, you could one-shot trash mobs, which meant, let's say you were going to pick up an ammo. Let's say you have 400 bullets out of 500, and you see, like, an ammo tin, and you know you're going to pick it up. Well, why not just dump ammo into the horde and wipe 50 horde guys out in literally like 2 seconds. Or you can shoot the horde for like a second with this to build up all your stacks instantly, and then shoot the things you actually want to shoot, like elites, with like double damage bonus. And it actually kind of had a place like that. However, the Recon Lasgun cannot reach any breakpoints with this. So the best gun that synergizes the most with this does not gain anything from using it, which puts this shit in the fucking dumpster. I will say, the Vrax with this, plus Marksman's, plus the fucking Mark Target Ultimate, oh my
Executioner
god,
sense,
dude,
yeah.
you will shred a fucking boss in like 2 seconds. Like, it is ridiculous the amount of DPS it does. But, like, you never need that DPS for anything, ever. And for new players, this can only stand to hurt you, because you haven't graduated to the Magnum XL condoms. You still have like the BBC Junior mentality, so you're still like slow walking, like crab walking and shit.
Yeah,
And you're
people are
trying to
taking
like, yeah,
camouflage.
you're trying
They're
to
getting
like,
left behind.
yeah, you're
They
trying to
get left
like,
behind and they go make a Reddit post saying, "Why is everybody so fast? They're all running ahead all the time." It's like, bro, it's because you're crouch walking
yeah,
with
and
marksman's focus.
it's just like, brother, like, it's just trying to play how this node makes it sound like it wants you to play with it just leads to you sucking. Like, there is no way around it. So if you don't know what you're doing, like, you don't know that the best way to use this is a machine gun, mow down the horde, instantly build all your stacks, ignore all the downsides, use those stacks you just built to have like 5 seconds of like hyper damage. Like, if you don't know that, this thing hurts you to ever try and use. But if you do know that, it still fucking sucks, because there's no guns that really want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So,
And then if we could make recommendations on how this could work better, I would say that make it so that in a similar vein to Deadshot, when you're using a ranged weapons alternate fire, aka aiming down sights, make it so that it starts accumulating stacks just from ADS or just from getting weak spot hits, period, not even kills.
yeah, I think it should just be from weak spot hits. That would
Yeah.
fix so many problems with this node. All right. Mark target. This is so, remember how at the start of the video I said I'm really confident about my placement of everything here? This is like one of the like 2 things that I'm a little skeptical on my placement of, because it's not good, but it's not bad. And I don't know if it's A tier or B tier. I kind of
I think
lean
it's A.
I kind of lean towards A tier myself, for the simple fact that 10% generic damage is just good. Everyone on the team getting like 10% damage bonus all the time for the entire run, like, that is just solid. All of their dots do 10% more. All of their heavy
Smite,
attacks with the dueling sword.
10% more.
Yeah. You
I'm
know,
not
like,
memeing, but so
like,
with
like, yeah, like, it's not
with
bad.
focus target, if you're playing dishonorably, like myself, I would say it's B, because for a lot of the targets that you're marking that you're going to get the most of value out of this, like the captains, the monstrosities, you're probably running them to the closest door or ledge. But if
Fuck
you're just
that.
killing everything, if you're just fucking, your team is confident that you can just blow things up, which most teams can with focus target, then it's A.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Havoc has also kind of low-key made this a little bit better, because, man, those 90,000 health monstrosities are kind of a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And just shaving like 30% of their health off because of the damage bonus you give your team and then the damage bonus you apply to that target, like, wow. It takes them from 90,000 back down to 60,000 like they would be in a normal game. This one keystone effectively nullifies the health bonus to bosses in Havoc, which, you know what? That's not bad.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
I think for casuals, however, this is S tier. Just for the simple fact that you don't have to fucking think. You just press the button and everything takes a shit ton more damage. Everyone on your team gets more damage. Everyone on your team gets toughness back. They all get stamina back. They don't even know what
Yeah.
stamina does. They just know that they sprint a lot, so they probably run around at 0 stamina the entire game. So this is just giving them stamina back, which means they can actually block now or just sprint more. It's giving them toughness back. Like, and the fact that they don't have to do anything but shoot the giant glowing target which they're going to do anyways. It's like a fucking beacon to tell them what to do. Like, there's a lot of power in not having to think. And this thing disables thinking entirely.
Oh yeah.
Weapon specialist. This is going to be our first S tier thing. This is the first thing that I don't think is just ludicrously game breaking, but it's the best keystone for veteran. And honestly, I think it's such a good keystone. I don't think there's a reason to ever not take it. I'm going to say something right now that's going to piss people off. There is no good keystoneless vet build. Because at the very least, every single veteran build wants reciprocity. This is literally half of your crit chance right here as veteran. If you don't take this node, you crit half as much as if you would take this node. Desperado is like 25% of your crit chance and like 25% of your crit damage. Trench Fighter Drill is 10% attack speed, which ends up just contributing a lot more than 10% to your DPS. It adds like 20% DPS after you factor in the increased amount of crits you get. And then you look at Weapon Specialist, which is 15% attack speed. That alone, 15% attack speed, would make this worth investing in for 1 point regardless. So if you aren't taking Weapon Specialist, I'm assuming you're not taking Trench Fighter Drill, which means you're missing out on 25% melee attack speed. There is no build on Earth that doesn't become significantly better from having 25% attack speed. None. There's just no build. There's just none. Then you factor in the 10% dodge distance and dodge speed, the guaranteed crit, the fucking never having to reload, the insane amount of toughness you generate. Like, every veteran build, period, wants to go down this right side tree. Every single veteran build wants to never have to reload. This on your toes contributes so much to your overall toughness. Like, it just does everything. It gives you toughness. It makes it so you have to reload way less with the plasma gun, maybe not at all. So it effectively increases your reload speed significantly. It increases your toughness significantly, and it increases your attack speed significantly. All of that for 1 point? Like, come on.
And then for casuals, it's also S in my opinion. Mostly because you don't have to think about it. It's also kind of like a set and forget kind of thing.
I think it might
You're
be
gonna
A
be
tier, actually, because there is a little bit of thinking, because you have to like kill, swap, and maybe a casual player would kill, sit on that weapon, let the buff run out, and not swap. So, like, you don't have
or
to
like get
think.
a kill, swap again,
Yeah,
stuff
something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's put it this way. This has the capacity to be used incorrectly, but you have to be a dumb
It's
fucking
pretty
dog.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that's really cool about this, and hopefully the power sword gets a rework so that it works exactly like the relic blade. Because if that happens, then the power sword is going to become a very popular weapon
Oh
because
yeah.
of weapon specialist, because of how it increases your dodge range, dodge speed. It would be so fucking dope.
Yeah, dude, that's the other thing. If you think your melee weapon is really good, think about your melee weapon with 25% attack speed. You know? It's like, oh, okay. All right, that's going to be it for the veteran. Now, dude, a lot of D tier stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's time to talk Zealot. Stun grenades. I think stun grenades are garbage.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this, because this is going to be controversial, and I think they are pretty garbage for casual Guilos too.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's not because in a vacuum, the actual effectiveness of these things is like, excuse me, it's like A tier. It's like up here. The actual impact of a stun grenade is pretty high. The problem, then, you might be asking, is this shit. Disdain is garbage. This node sucks. Enemies within, this node is garbage. This shit sucks. Toughness boost is okay. This sucks, and this really sucks. So you have to take 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes. 4 nodes that you don't want to be taking just to take these. And then taking
and
these.
it's not like it's gonna save you any points if you just bomb rush stun storm grenade, because you have to take things like backstabber, scourge, second wind,
Yes,
and enduring
yes,
faith.
yes, because here's
You
the thing,
have
right?
to.
If you don't take Scourge, minus 30% crit chance for everything, including your guns. And it's like, okay, that's a problem. Enduring Faith, 50% toughness damage reduction. That's always up. Okay, so what? Are you just going to give up a third of all of your critical hits and you're just going to take like double damage for the entire run just so you can save points and take a stun grenade? Really? Really? You're going to give up
Yeah.
50% damage reduction and a third of all your criticals just so you don't take knives? Really?
It's not worth it. It's not worth it for casuals or hardcore.
Yeah.
Neither.
Like, this shit is so bad because of that. The actual grenade is good. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to diss the actual grenade. It's like a 12-second stun. Like, it is decent. It is a huge AoE. You get like 3 of them. Like, it is not a bad grenade. It is just so fucking... Dude, let's put it this way. Whatever Zealot grenade would be in this slot right here is going to be S tier. Because Zealot's skill tree is horrible. It is horribly designed. I hate this skill tree. Honestly, this is one of the worst skill trees in the game. It's so bad. Fire grenades.
Immolation grenade.
By that same token, I think immolation grenades are like C tier. I think they're like okay. And the reason for that is this node is really good, and you kind of want it in every build because it's just effectively 25% range damage, which is great for the Flamer or the Bolter. Purge the Unclean is just 20% boss damage, which again, so if you're using the Bolter on bosses, this and this, that's 45% increase against damage on the boss.
Yep.
Okay, that's really good. That lets you mag dump into the back of a Beast of Nurgle, and like you could take like half of his health off of one magazine. Okay, that's like 30,000 damage in one Bolter mag from these two nodes. So you kind of want these if you can help it. And from there, you're only a toughness boost, which they all have toughness boosts. Like, okay, you're not going to complain with that. And these kind of suck. Voice of Terra is okay, but like you're only really wasting 1 point really to take this, as opposed to the 4 shitty nodes to take stun storms. So like you can actually argue, and then you consider the effect is pretty good. Like if you're using these, you're probably using a flamer already. Or I'm sorry, no, you're not, because you don't have knives, so you can't really use the flamer.
No, you can't.
So yeah, so you're not really gonna have a
You're
burn
using
dot.
You're using the bolter for sure,
Yeah,
or like
yeah,
recon last gun.
yeah. So if you're using these, you already don't have access to burn. Like this is how you access burn, and you're gonna
Yeah.
be using uncanny on your dueling sword anyways, or your knife or whatever. So like, guess what? You know, okay, uncanny actually makes these pretty damn good, kind of like shredders, just to a way lesser extent. They're like shredders if they can't stun and you can throw only like 20 of them instead of like 120 of them, and they don't stun and they don't do that initial wave of damage, they only do the dot damage. So basically they're like shredders if shredders weren't good.
Yeah, the this is kind of the option that I take if I'm ever running on a team in Havoc 40 where nobody else is going to be picking up grenades. I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll just run this and be the guy who picks up grenades." Pretty much.
Yeah.
Cuz I actually like them. I actually like the immolation grenade. I think it's a solid B, to be
I
honest.
think I think for like casual players, this shit is like A tier, dude. They just
This
they
is
just
definitely A. Yeah.
they just drop this motherfucker in a choke point and then smack away with their sword, assuming they've put uncanny on it, and it just deals with everything.
Yep. And then there are also so many different like auric modifiers where it's like, oh, like extra dogs, like hunting grounds or mutants or
Yep,
whatever.
yep.
Where it's just like, I'm just gonna put this on my team and just save everyone. Like, whatever.
Yeah, like a great example of this. You guys know the vacuum capsule mission with the train and the ammo? You just drop one of these on that area with the staircase and the drop down point, like by the train door, like on Heresy, and you just walk away because it just kills everything.
Yeah.
Like there's so much shit like that that you can do. Throwing knives are game breaking.
Yep. For casual players, I would say throwing knives are probably C. If we're talking about people who aren't really hitting their shots all the time, they're not getting headshots all the time. It's got superb tree placement for sure, but I think that people don't use them correctly.
I have one thing to say to what Jeff just said. Fuck, that gift does not exist. Are you serious?
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay. Hold on.
Is
Open.
it punk? Is it punk trash talking?
No, it's this. Damn, this really sucks, this website. Right here. This is what I think about what Jeff just said. This is my literal yeah, right there. No.
There he is.
No. No. These are not C tier. No. No, absolutely not. No. And my reasoning for that is honestly pretty solid, my facts and logic. You have to go down here. This
Yeah, you have to.
placement,
Yep.
this placement is so premium that it overwrites anything. Even if you don't throw a single fucking knife, this placement alone makes this better than these other two grenades, period. So, and that's ignoring what the knives actually do. I think just from placement and how the tree is laid out, you have to take these. Because a build that doesn't take these is at best spending 2 points, or at worst spending 4 points. If you're giving up 2 points, that means giving up keystone modifiers for this, keystone modifiers for this. You basically can't use this at all.
Yep.
Because using this without the modifiers, why even bother? And it's like, you know, or like maybe you give up these or something, like, okay. But then you actually talk about what they do. First thing about them, quick throw. Any action in the entire game, you press a button and you instantly activate a like hit scan almost projectile that can one-shot almost everything. Okay? I wish, dude, there's a lot of video games I wish that was a thing. In most video games, that would be a special ability on a cooldown. But in Darktide, it's just something you can endlessly spam. So I think these are S tier for casuals because at the end of the day, you have to take them. Even if you can't aim with them, even if you're using a controller, you just have to suck it up and get good with them or just not play Zealot. You either have to accept you will never be that good of a Zealot player, or you just suck it up and start using them and get good with them. Like, I'm sorry, it sounds super douchey, but like that is just the reality of, bro, do you see how this tree is laid out? My Habibi, Mustafa Shalal.
Oh yeah.
You're like, what do you do? You either don't take this or you just suck it up. Then you consider you have like 12 of them, so you can just spam them. You can reload the bolter and flamer faster. You can pull them out faster. So even if you aren't going to use them to kill things, dude, on Malice and like Heresy, you can just one-shot shit to the body with these. You don't even have to hit the head. Dude, you can like, if you get a crit with these, you can like one-tap a Mauler to the body, I think, with Uncanny. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, like on Malice. So even if
That's
you are...
actually my favorite application is with Uncanny Strike and the knives. It's really fun. But I still think it's a solid C or B for casual players, dude, because they're not doing all the things you're describing.
Jeff,
They're just not.
this is why you weren't on the first Havoc 40 team, okay?
True.
Leave it to the professionals.
But you're talking about the most hardcore best players in the game.
No. I'm talking about casuals right now. I think even for casuals, dude, it is not fucking hard to just walk to make sure your crosshair is on top of the target when you click the button. Because it's instant. It doesn't like interrupt your actions. It doesn't stop you. You can do it while you're like holding things. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. That's all I'm saying. You'd be surprised.
No, knives are too good. The fact that they one-shot everything that is a threat to you, and they do it instantly without interrupting what you're doing, too good. Fury of the Faithful is S tier.
S tier, yeah.
This shit is crazy.
For both casual and hardcore.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think it's probably better for casuals than it is for hardcore players because you don't have to think.
It is.
You just press the button and it fucking launches you. You just pelvic thrust into the enemy and like stab them and it just dies whatever it is. It's like a super
it's also
critical.
Just like it's almost like the ultimate like get out of jail free card too, because it makes you immune to gunners. It restores your toughness. It
interrupts like
enables
crusher
certain
overheads
weapons.
and shit.
Yep. Like this is good. This is really fucking good.
It gives you attack speed, gives you rending. Like, it's probably the best ultimate for a zealot thematically. Cause like,
yeah.
It just does everything you'd expect from someone called the zealot to do. attack speed, toughness. Like it lets you stay in melee. You can just use it to like do a micro stun on things. Yeah, and you don't have to think. That's what makes it so good for the
Yeah, you just
average
do it.
Guilo. You just don't have to think. You just you just press the button when it glows and you win.
It's got one ability modifier, so you're saving points. It's right next to Benediction. It's right next to Invocation of Death. It's right next to Blazing Piety. It's got like the best placement.
Book
Is good.
gets B tier. B tier for Book. So people are gonna raise an eyebrow at this. They're gonna say, what about Zesty Book? And yes, Book is incredibly good in Havoc, but outside of Havoc, it's just kind of mid. Like the fact that you have to stop and channel it is what stops it from being super crazy.
Yeah.
The stun is good. The
I would say it's
suppression is
A tier though. People are alleging so many bosses in Havoc that I think it deserves at least A tier. Plus the
fine.
suppression, the range
I'm
of the
giving this S
suppression
tier
is
for casuals
real
though.
fucking big. Oh yeah.
I think this is S tier for the average Joe because gold toughness, suppression, like this is just you press a button and the game is just like put on pause for 5 seconds, and then you have
Yep.
like 100 gold toughness afterwards.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. If you're following the ABCs, always be casting. Like Course of Spiritual Fortitude is real good.
Yeah, it's just generically strong. There isn't really too much to talk about with it because it's just gold toughness. If this didn't give you gold toughness, it would be significantly worse. Like
Oh
probably
yeah.
C tier, maybe even D tier. Like also the suppression on this is crazy. It's like 50 fucking meters. You press this and gunners just stop. Like
Yep, yep.
yeah. Okay, Shroud Field. I think Shroud Field is
It's
game
game
breaking.
breaking.
And
Yeah.
there is this one guy who posted a thing on Reddit. He was like basic zealot skill pathing, and he was really arguing a lot that Shroudfield is bad and Fury is just better than Shroudfield. And I actually agree with you, person with the furry profile picture on Reddit. I do think Fury of the Fateful is just better than Shroudfield in every way if you're only looking at what it does, because Fury of the Faithful does in fact have more effects attached to it. The problem that you were not considering at all is how stealth breaks the AI.
Yep.
Shroudfield, unlike Infiltrate, is effectively endlessly spammable because by the time it ends, you'll have gotten crits and shit, like it's counting down, you get crits, you get kills. Shroudfield realistically only has like 3 seconds max of downtime, and it just stops the AI from doing anything. Let me put it to you this way. Like this is specifically for the guy on Reddit, just to like put this into perspective to make you understand how much better Shroudfield is in terms of raw power. Look at Mr. E's clandestine Gloriana solo where he used stealth, and everyone in the comments are crying. No one cares about stealth. Stealth makes it so easy. Blah, 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 blah. Post a true solo with Fury. Everyone is impressed. They're like, "Holy shit, this is crazy!" Like, you need to separate your true solos as with stealth or without stealth. Because without stealth, they become some of the hardest, most difficult things in the game. It is like an hour of just straight up perfect play, no mistakes. Whereas with stealth, it turns it into a 20 to 30-minute jog where you don't even
Yep.
have to think because you can just, anytime you're in even a remotely stressful situation, you just press the button and it's done. Shroudfield enables a 6 out of 10 skill player to solo carry the hardest content in the game consistently, whereas Fury of the Faithful doesn't do any of that.
Yeah, it's pretty much like looking at playing the game from two different perspectives. Fear of the Faithful makes you better at just killing everything. And then Shroudfield makes you better at just completing the mission, completing the game. Unless the mission somehow involves killing something. But most of the time it's just interacting with things.
Exactly. My ninja.
Yep.
All right, now let's talk Zealot Keystones. Oh, yeah, wait. Shroudfield? I
Ooh.
don't think Shroudfield is necessarily game breaking for casuals, but it's like top of S tier, borderline game breaking.
I'm gonna lean towards game breaking because I have with Shroudfield just completely carried teams before. Just kind of left him tied down and just went and completed the mission
I mean, that's
just
really
because you
is the
can.
yeah, that's the thing with Shroudfield. Shroudfield enables absolutely mediocre level players to just completely
Yeah.
true solo a mission that they have no business. Dude, you can be at the skill level where if you tried to true solo like a high stig and like you would die in 5 minutes, throw on Shroudfield and you'll probably fucking win.
Yeah.
Okay,
Blazing piety, dude.
let's.
Redemption. It's finally come. In the previous tier list, Tanner shat on this keystone.
Well, you know something about the previous tier list that I was not taking into consideration? I wasn't really taking into consideration the dueling sword. And
True.
man, the dueling sword made this note a lot fucking better.
Yeah, it's super fucking good.
Because you really do need that crit chance for the dueling sword to consistently one tap. Because the way I was looking at it was, well, who really cares? Because it's the knife. You're just going to bop away at its head. Who cares if you have to hit it an extra time or two? Well, the difference between the dueling sword critting is the difference between consistently one-shotting and consistently two-shotting. Okay, well, now we're talking the difference between just eviscerating a pack of crushers in 4 seconds versus 8 seconds. And all of a sudden, this thing becomes way better. This hold on,
Yeah, and
let me
then
pull.
it really enables the flamer too, because every time you crit with the flamer, it puts on 2 stacks of burn instead of 1. And so everything you're already taking as a zealot, it just kind of makes it all better.
So I want to talk about this real quick. Stalwart makes this have the same damage reduction virtually as Martyrdom does, which is fucking wild. I just want to point that out there. This should not be a keystone modifier, period. And Righteous Warrior makes it so that this can effectively just replace. This is as good as a tier 4 blessing now. And it's like, okay. And it's right above one of the most broken modifiers in the entire
Yeah.
game, Invocation of Death. Like, what?
The synergy is crazy.
Yeah, like, it's just, hold on. Are you still holding on? Okay, so the fact that this is effectively 25% crit for most builds, because a lot of builds use Righteous Warrior, means that you can take Riposte off, which means you can actually use Thrust and Uncanny, which is just a nutty combination. You can have like 70% crit chance and Thrust and Uncanny. Oh my god. And this is how Zealot just starts one-shotting everything for the entire game. And because of this extra crit chance, you never don't have Invocation of Death. You don't have this. You never have this not active because of that. Which means you never don't have your ultimate basically always marching towards cooldown. So my opinion on this definitely changed quite a lot. It is super, super good. And I think for casuals, it's honestly even better because they don't have to
Yeah.
think. They just click
Yeah, it just
M1
goes.
and they just get constant 25% damage. I will say, I do think Stalwart is busted and shouldn't be a thing, but I also don't think Stalwart is all that good because not being able to maintain, let's say you're in a duo or you just have to kite a boss away from your team. If you take Stalwart, you are going to lose stacks, period. Because you're not getting a kill. That boss is going to prevent you. You're going to have to just kite it. So, that's why I think more people
Yeah.
lean towards the right path.
Stalwart is it's kind of the thing that the other zealot takes if you have 2 zealots on the team.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to have. So I know where Tanner's gonna place this because he's cracked. But I think this thing fucking sucks. I don't
Okay.
like martyrdom.
Let's start here.
It
I
hurts
think
you. Yeah, if you're a
for
casual,
most
this
people,
fucking sucks.
I think for most people, Martyrdom is not a good fit. I think the fact that it asks you to give up your 3 curios and a good portion of your health is not good for 90% of people because toughness just isn't as strong as temp HP. That being said, are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Let me explain myself, okay? Before you type in the comments or you
Explain
post about
yourself.
it on Reddit, Let me explain. Okay? All right, can we all like the last time we were here making this tier list, I kind of chickened out and I put Martyrdom in a needs a rework tier. And I still do think it needs a little bit of a rework. I don't like how it is. I don't like how Until Death is basically mandatory to use this. And I just wish Until Death was in some part a keystone modifier instead. That being said, since this is probably the last tier list ever, and hopefully going to remain the most accurate one forever,
The game's dead after this.
I cannot deny that Martyrdom is really good if you can work it. And that's a giant fucking asterisk because 90% of people who tell you they can work this keystone cannot actually work this keystone. What really solidified my opinion on this keystone being S tier is it might take me on average 20 attempts to do a true solo Maelstrom with this keystone. It might take me 30 attempts, maybe even 40 average tries to win with Martyrdom. But when I do win, the Martyrdom wins are just so much easier. Now, I really do not think Martyrdom is the right fit for like 95+% of this fucking game's population. I don't think it's going to like get you killed constantly like, you know, like Reddit or the Discord LFG would tell you. I do think it is a gigantic fucking oversight that your teammates can pop a burster on you and kill you, or they can pop a barrel on you and kill you. I just hate the idea of teammates fucking me over and getting me killed and I have like no control over it. But if I just look at the power in a vacuum, the damage reduction is nuts. The attack speed is crazy. And I think Martyrdom, what I really think would solidify Martyrdom as like, or maybe even Zealot's best keystone, is if you got to pick how many wounds came pre-locked. So let's say you have 6 wounds and you can decide at the start of the mission, I want 3 wounds locked. That would make this the best keystone in the game, I think.
That'd be pretty interesting.
And
I think another thing that would make it crazy would be if you had the like Holy Fervor from Vermintide, where whenever you used your ability, it just made it so that you couldn't be reduced below 1 HP.
yeah,
It just
that's
made you
another
invulnerable
thing.
pretty much.
I kind of, well, I don't really think you can do that in this game. See, that's
Not for Darktide. It'd be nuts, especially with something like Invocation of Death.
maybe like with
crazy.
a 30-second cooldown or something. But I just I feel like Martyrdom is safe enough that if you are consciously aware that you're playing Martyrdom and you're very safe, that you will not go down a bunch with it. But I just feel like it needs that extra sauce. It needs like one extra layer of defense. And yes, I understand I understand that if you gave Martyrdom like every 30 seconds, you get a 5-second window of invincibility when you use your ult. That would like put it like up here
That'd
for
be
people
crazy,
like me. That would put it up here for people like me. But that would also put it like, you know, like up here for like normal people.
Casuals.
I do not think you can take someone who is the average Joe just stepping into high stig for the first time and make them play Martyrdom. I think they're going to fucking hate it. They're going to, most of the time, they're just not going to have a keystone. And when they do have a keystone, they're going to be near death and it's not going to do anything for them because they're going to die 2 seconds later.
Yeah. The way that I look at Martyrdom is that it's kind of like running the red tear stone ring in Dark Souls.
Yes.
Where you're always playing at 20% HP, but you have this massive damage boost, which makes it so that you can do like speed runs.
Because hold on,
crazy strats.
Let me just run something by people here. The Zealot has 200 base health, right? So if you separate this into like 6 wounds, a Zealot with like 3 wounds still has more health than a Psyker. Okay? Think about that. But if you go down 3 wounds with Martyrdom, you are getting like 24 whatever % melee damage. That's pretty good. You're getting 12% attack speed. That's pretty good. And you're getting like almost 20% toughness damage reduction. And you still have more health than you would have on, say, a Psyker. So you're not any more squishy than the other two classes, Veteran and Psyker. I'm not even going to count Ogryn as a fucking class anymore. It's like a literal subhuman. So you're still tankier in raw HP value than the other two classes, but
And then you have Until Death.
getting keystone benefits that are arguably worth it. And if you feel a little risky, let's say you feel like going down to 80 health, in which case you have like 5 wounds. Or I'm sorry, you have dude, what is this? What is this bullshit? Okay, let's say you want to go down to having 4 wounds locked. Okay, well now you're getting like 20% damage or attack speed. Now you're getting, like 25% here. You're getting like fucking like 30% here. And now it starts becoming one of the better keystones.
Yep. And kind of going back to that like red tier centering logic, in Dark Souls you can control everything. What makes martyrdom more A tier for me is that you don't have control over everything in like a Havoc 40. And your teammates will probably kill you from like pox bursters, barrels, whatever. Solo, great. I wouldn't run this in a group though,
Dude, I think
personally.
in true solos, this shit is like up here. Because
Yeah.
like everything that's going to kill you for using martyrdom is going to kill you for using this as well. Virtually,
Yep.
like, there in true solos, it's honestly kind of rare for a situation where this doesn't get you killed and this would get the extra health from this would save you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that is my this is the first time I've ever actually given martyrdom a rating and didn't like chicken out and just put it in some like subcategory that like, doesn't, whatever. Momentum. Boy, I think this thing has fallen off like hard.
Yeah, the nerfs were a bit too much. It really didn't need them, to be honest.
Yeah, that, and it just doesn't work with the dueling sword nearly as well as it did the knife.
Yep.
When I said this thing was like S tier and borderline game breaking, I was kind of operating with like whispers of the old meta in my brain, like worms. And but no, man, if you look at the reality, this thing is just not good now. It's not placed very well on the tree. The actual effects are decent, but like without the nice movement speed, because dude, you gotta understand, man, with the knife, that dodge plus that sprint, you can get up to max stacks on this thing fast. But with like
Real quick.
every other
Yep.
weapon in the game, you just kind of can't, which severely limits its usability. I don't
Yeah,
think
they need to unnerf this thing. They need to make it so that the stacks last 10 seconds. They need
Mhm.
to maybe make it so that it does more things than just attack speed, range attack speed, and damage.
Well,
Like, I
I
don't
don't
think
really.
they could factor in crit, but
Well,
something else.
because that's the
Something.
thing with momentum, right? Attack speed is good. Damage is good. Damage and attack
Yeah.
speed together are like, that's premium. Attack speed is so fucking rare in this game. You can like you just like don't get it like ever. So like you
Yep.
get like think about it. You get Fury of the Faithful this 20%, you get this 10%, that's 30, and then you get this 15%, that's 45% attack speed. Like
Dude,
this
you know
is
what this needs to do?
what?
Dude, this needs to increase your dodge distance so that you could use it with a relic blade. That would be so fun. Relic
That
blade with
would be
all this
fun.
attack
Yeah.
speed. That'd be so fucking dope.
Because, like, right here, like, replenish the toughness. Okay, so 30% toughness every 6 seconds. That's pretty good. And then 3 stacks on a successful dodge to make sure every 6 seconds you have max stacks. Like, it's not bad. It just doesn't do enough compared to the other two.
Yep.
I think for
And it's out of the way.
casuals, I don't know. I think it's like B tier as well.
It's
Because
C tier.
you don't have to think about it,
Casuals,
though.
they don't engage it fully. I've seen casuals who don't get the
Yeah.
dodges, so they don't get inebriate's poise, and they'll get max like if they're in the middle of a horde, like 8 stacks, and 8% is decent, but it's not really doing anything for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. The 6 seconds is pretty brutal, man. That was fucking.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, 10 seconds was peak. All right, let's talk Zealot auras now.
Oh boy. Oh
Benediction
boy.
is S tier. So,
It's everything you want.
Benediction, it's also S tier for casuals as well. Because,
Yeah, because the placement.
so, like Jeff just said, the placement of Benediction is premium. This shit is golden. It is it's next to you most every fucking person in every build wants to take Until Death and Holy Rev. Every build wants Duelist without exception. And 15% toughness damage reduction, even if that's just for you, stacks with this. So this stacks with this, stacks with this, stacks with this, or this. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, man. You know the Zealot can reach like 70% toughness damage reduction. Then good balance subtracts another 25% from that after the fact. Like, Benediction is a big part of why Martyrdom is as good as it is. Because let's say you take a hit from a trash mob for 50% or 50 damage. Okay, so you get this 50%, this 15%, and then you get like this 25%. God forbid you're using Shroud Field and you get this fucking 20%. But let's assume you're not. So this 15 plus this 50 plus this like 25, you're talking like, or really if you're at -5 wounds, this is like 32%, I think. So you're that 50 damage hit is going straight up. It's getting minus by like 70%. It is going straight up down to like 17 damage. Then you use good balance as well, and that 17 damage gets subtracted by another 25. That shit is going down to like 12 damage. Just straight up. And that is a huge part of what makes Martyrdom as good as it is the fact that you can make those trash mob hits go down to like 12 damage, and then you can make the gunshots go from like 30 damage down to like 5. It gives you a shit ton of leeway. But Stalwart can also do the exact same thing while giving you crit. So, you know. And a lot of Benediction, it's just 15% toughness damage reduction is wild for an aura. Giving that to your whole team. And it's perfectly placed. Like, there's really nothing bad to say about this. Even if it doesn't affect your teammates, it only affects you. 15% toughness damage reduction. Dude, I want to point this out. Veteran gets 10% damage reduction from his nodes, like his personal, like operative modifiers. So, like, this aura is better than the same effect for 1 point on, like, every other class in the game. So, you know. And it has the potential to affect your teammates as well. So 4 value for the price of 1. Yeah, there's not much to say
it's a good
about it.
boy. Yeah, there really isn't.
Beacon of Purity gets C tier purely for Havoc. Like, this thing is unusable, trash tier garbage outside of Havoc. And this,
like maybe Grimoires. I don't know.
This counters 1 modifier in 1 game mode and is useless everywhere else outside of that all of the time.
Yep.
This actively hurts you for casuals because casuals are not playing Havoc 40. And when you consider,
it's just a point text to take.
When you consider this is one of the worst passes in the game, these are some of the worst passes in the game, and these are some of the worst passes in the game, you are wasting 3 points on effectively do-nothing garbage to get this. This aura is not worth 10% of your build to get to it. And none of these skills are worth using.
Yep.
Loner fucking sucks. Fuck Loner. Now, I'll put Loner in C tier because it has 1 build where it's used.
Yeah.
Loner has 1 use and 1 use exclusively with toughness damage reduction, toughness regeneration speed and Shroud Field, because you press Shroud Field and Loner instantly kicks in your toughness regeneration, and with triple regen speed plus Loner plus, so 2 coherency, you immediately start regenerating, and you start regenerating it at a rate of like 15 a second. So it's not the literal worst thing in the world, but fuck is it not good.
Yeah, I think one of the things that holds Loner back is the placement. Because, like, even if you're doing something like a solo run, unless you're doing like a, I guess, Invis cheese run, then like it's pretty decent. But most people are going to be wanting to go for duelist and stuff like that, which will put you really far out of the way.
Yeah, most people can't cheese because they're playing with 4 players.
True.
And it's just like
true.
Loner just sucks, man. It just needs to have another effect.
It's an active detriment for casual players.
Yeah,
Because
I
think
that
a lot of people will try to actually adapt the Loner playstyle, like when they run this aura, and it just ends up getting themselves killed. Like it's bad.
Yeah. Loner, and the other thing is Loner doesn't do anything for your teammates. Every other aura in the entire game buffs your teammates as well, even if it's only for 30% of the game. You're only in coherency for 30%. They're still benefiting from it. Loner doesn't benefit anyone but you, and really, every benefit it provides you, you could just get from the tree, but better. Like, it's just, and then you consider you're giving up benediction, which is a crazy ass. That's like worth 2 points for everyone across 4 people. That's like 8 points worth of
Yeah.
value you're giving up. It's just fuck Loner.
I'm pretty
Okay,
satisfied with this so far.
I think it's time to talk Psyker.
Yeah.
Brain Burst is either B tier or A tier. This is so. Remember how I said I was not sure about Mark Target? Brain Burst is in the exact same category for me as Mark Target, in that you can never
Yeah.
go wrong with it, but it's never gonna be like it's never gonna be a star player. It's never gonna shine. It's just gonna be nice to have and have moments where it helps you a lot, and most of the time it's just gonna kind of be there. I feel
Yeah,
I'm
I think that it's always a safe pick. You're never wrong for having it in your build. It's got really good blitz modifiers. I really enjoy both of them.
and that's something I was just
Um,
about to talk about.
yeah,
The
and it's
biggest
on
thing
the side of the
that's
tree that has psychonetics aura. So
Yeah, there's two things that work for Brain Burst. One, it's good placement, and two, kinetic resonance is really good. Honestly, the 50% less peril makes it basically free, and the 75% faster means you can genuinely spam out like 5 of these things in that 10-second window. And it only costs you like 40 peril to do that. And since you just popped Venting Shriek, it guarantees you have the peril to do it. So, like, dude, if you are like playing Purge Staff Psyker and you're stuck behind a line of gunners and there's not much you can do, just pop Shriek and then just start, pew, pew, pew,
yeah,
pew.
start blasting.
Also,
Even if you're cheesing with like bubble, like it's still really good.
yeah, yeah, because you place the bubble down and then you just start
Your
working on it.
bunker.
Another thing
Yeah.
is, this is good boss damage. It straight up does like 2 to 3,000 whenever you pop it on a boss. And like, so let's say you flame up the boss, you get your 16 stacks. Then you pop Venting Shriek, you go up to 21 stacks. Okay, now you have a dot that does 300 damage a second, and now you're popping every like, I think it's like 1.7 seconds, you're popping it for 3,000 damage, and you're gonna get like 7 of those off. Okay,
Yeah,
so
if
that's
you're a
like,
veteran if you're a veteran that likes crack grenades, honestly, Brain Rupture is kind of like the better pick for I guess that kind of play style because
yeah, it
it's
kind
just
of is.
free. It's free, it's unlimited, like it's useful.
Yeah, I think Brain Rupture is a perfect middle tier ability.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it's kind of middle tier as well for casuals. Like,
Yep, yep, agree.
you can't do much to make Brain Burst better, but Brain Burst is so decent that it can never be bad.
One thing I will say, it's actually probably better than Executioner's Stance, but I know we'll organize these at the
Yeah.
end. Smite, dude. Man, my opinion on Smite has changed a lot since Havoc came out.
All right, for casuals, Smite
I
is game
think
breaking. I think hold on. Let me say
yeah.
it. Let me say it.
I think it's A. Yeah, A.
Yeah, we both came to the yep. All
Yep.
right. Listen, I have some splaining to do. Smite, and I can't believe I'm about to say this. Smite synergizes so fucking well with the Purge staff.
Yeah.
So I was talking to people and I was even experiencing it myself, but Smite's damage is super dependent on hordes. And the hordes need to be beefy, they need to be thick, and they need to always be on screen. Smite can actually deal. I had a Havoc 40 run where Smite was my main damage dealer and I did 2 million fucking damage.
Yep.
And I just cannot ignore that it is so brain dead easy to get such shockingly high damage numbers with Smite that I would just be a fucking hater if I put it like down here.
Yeah. They also
Obviously,
fixed they also fixed the bug, the unintended like cheese to be able to get the True Survivor achievement or whatever in Havoc. And so Smite is just kind of become like Well, okay, so we're just gonna play super careful, and we're just gonna we're just gonna CC everything. Just cheese it. It's the
Smite's
new cheese.
Yeah, Smite in Havoc is crazy. Like genuinely crazy. As much as I hate it, I hate Smite because it slows the game down to a crawl. But
Yeah,
man, it is the safest crawl you're gonna have. You want to make sure you win, just bring Smite. It is like an auto win button. And
pretty
I will
much.
say, I don't think Smite should be in the game. I think it should be fucking removed. I think it went from too shitty to too good. Like the fact that Smite, when Smite just gets to constantly go and it just never stops and it's always hitting max targets all the time on top, because think about it, if you're placing a dot on the enemies first, then the Smite's damage is mediocre, but Smite plus a dot, dude, fuck, man, I hate it. Okay,
Yeah,
even if you just like right click, left click with the purge staff for literally a second, then pop venting shriek, then smite, you have like 12 dot on the enemies. They're taking like 120 damage a second, and now they're taking like 30 to 40 damage a second from smite. And it's like, fuck, man, I hate this. They're taking 200 damage a second and they can't move. And like the whole horde is gonna take that the entire time. Like it's just
yeah.
it's like autocorrect damage. Like you
Not
literally
only
don't have
that,
to.
but like everyone else is bringing dots too. You got the shredders going out. You've got the flamer going out. Like everyone else is taking advantage of this. So
And then I can't believe I'm
complete
saying it.
complete 180
I can't believe I'm saying
from the
it
last tier list.
because so enfeeble. Because we're talking about dots so much, I hate this. Enfeeble's actually pretty good when you're stacking 3 fucking
Yep.
dots. Because think about this: 10% from enfeeble, 5% from fire team, 10% from this, 10% from enfeeble. So 10, 20, 25% damage for all the dots on all the team. Then you stack 3 dots, bleed, soul blaze, flame, and now you
Kinetic
have
presence
smite,
too.
going. And it's like, oh my god, that is crazy. That's 3 dots getting 25% damage. That's like having a 4th dot.
Yeah, if you want an easy run, I honestly recommend just 2 psychers, one on smite, one on inferno staff. Just keep them going the entire time. It makes it really easy.
I hate this. I hate how fucking high up I have to put smite. But I okay, I will say this as well. In like an Auric Maelstrom, I think it's like down here. I think outside of Havoc, smite
Yeah,
is way
situational.
worse. I think the harder difficulty you're playing on, the better smite is. I mean, okay, even in
Mhm.
Maelstrom, I'd probably put it in B tier because I was playing the guy in my world's first Havoc 40 video. I was playing with him and his girlfriend. His girlfriend was playing Smite the entire time. I joke about calling Smite the girlfriend ability. Your girlfriend who's not that good at the game, just put her on Smite. Dude, she was dropping like fucking
Really is.
700,000 damage in like Maelstrom. I was struggling to keep up as veteran. I was like, this is fucking bullshit, dude. Yeah, man,
Yeah, I think
that buff that they did. So I want to point something out. A year ago, I need to point this out. A year ago, they buffed empowered psionics. You see how it says empowered smite plus 200% damage? Yeah, that used to say plus 100%. But
yep.
they literally doubled the doubling of smite's damage, and now it went from like empowered psionic smite went from like 20 damage a tick to like 50 damage a tick. So it kills like trash mobs in like 3-4 ticks now. So like you just have a psyker sitting in the corner with this, holding out smite, and like shit just fucking dies. It is so lame.
Yeah, I think it was JTC Live who said it, but this is pretty much the Barden, the Iron Breaker of Darktide. Like it does a very apt description of what Smite is.
No, I think it's closer to fucking Foot Knight Kruber.
You think
If
so? Because I feel like with Ironbreaker, it's the class that provides the most leeway in
No, it
terms of
doesn't.
like
Hey, this guy sucks at
it
Vermintide.
does.
No, Foot Knight Kruber does that. Bash Knight because
Really?
he just bashes everything. Okay, I don't know how much you played on the modded realm, but on the modded realm, teams would actually oftentimes bring Foot Knight Kruber and Ironbreaker Barden, believe it or not. And
Oh,
Kruber would specialize in bashing because of the stagger system. So every stagger level, enemies would take 20 to 40% more damage depending
Yep.
on what mid-row talent you take. So like your teammates might be getting 120% damage for stagger level 3, and if they're getting stagger level 3, they're just endlessly looped and they can't move. Kruber can bash more than anyone else, has the biggest bash radius, and his takes the less stamina to bash. So he just sits there in the corner, bash, 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 bash. Everything takes double damage, nothing can move, and like he's just the ultimate support.
Mm.
And then if you ever get rushed by armor like Chaos Warriors, you know, you've got Bull of Arslan! You just immediately start it and stop it and knock those guys over too.
True, true. But with Iron Breaker, you can like tank a hit every like 30 seconds or something.
Ooh, so good,
That's the
so
leeway.
amazing. Yeah, so amazing.
No, that's the leeway.
Anyway, for average Joe, Smite is honestly probably up there with fucking Shout. Like, Smite is ridiculous. The fact that you can just delete hordes, really the only time, like, if you are a responsible Smite user, dude, fuck, man. But that's the thing, though. Like, on Malice, there's not enough enemies to Smite to begin with. Like, I don't think it's worth it if you're not playing on Auric. But then if you are playing on Auric, you're basically guaranteeing that it's like a 30-minute mission. But you're also basically guaranteeing that you're going to win. It's just the most boring win of your life. I fucking hate Smite. I hate Smite so much.
It's kind of like Shroudfield, but with a full team, things actually die. So you'll win, but it's gonna take you a while.
I hate Smite. I think Smite just shouldn't be in the game. Smite is in two extremes. It is either way too fucking good or way too fucking bad and slows everything down. Like, there is no healthy middle ground with Smite. Assail,
though, man. What a fall from grace.
I think Assail is fucking terrible. Honestly, Assail might even be D tier. Well, no, I can't give it D tier because so the biggest problem with Assail, and this one's for all you Reddit guys out there because I still lurk on the Reddit every so often, and I see a lot of people when they post their Guncyker builds, they take Assail. Guys, Assail is not better than Psychonetics Aura. I have no idea how this conversation is even happening again. Assail on Auric Plus just like stops being good for the most part. The only way to make Assail even somewhat okay, let me start here. You have to take these two modifiers. These two modifiers make Assail more expensive than every other blitz. That's already not good. But then you consider that you have to take these just to make Assail even like useful in the first place. The only way to make Assail really good is to do melee hit, quick swap Assail, throw, swap back to melee hit, and then cancel the ending animations of the Assail shard and the melee hit. And unless you're going to macro that shit is so tiring to do. Even just like after 10 minutes, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And if you are going to macro it, fuck you, you know, like.
Yeah, not only that, but the placement on the tree is bad because you can't take Psychonetics Aura. Yeah. And then with the amount of armored enemies and bulwarks there are in Havoc, it's just not usable. You're going to get all the DPS that you think you're getting. It's just not going to happen. With Assail, you may as well bring Smite, especially as Guncyker. If you're even going to run Guncyker,
you can't play Guncyker in Havoc. It literally doesn't work.
You
they
really
killed
can't.
That build. They absolutely killed it.
Same with the Gunluggers. Like you just can't. But yeah, I mean, if you're in casual and it's okay, I think it moves up one tier.
Oh no, dude! I think this is A, maybe even S tier for like casuals because they don't have to think at all. They can literally, if you're playing below Auric, there's like never any armored enemies. There's never anything that can block you. You just throw, and like shit just falls over in front of you. Like it's kind of like Smite in that it basically just plays the game for you.
Yeah. But I will say though that not having Psychonetics Aura is a really big deal because Psychonetics Aura does things like enables Shout. It makes Shout.
All I'm gonna say is this: as the first person in the world to beat Havoc, thank you very much. And everyone that I know that cleared it like an hour or so after me, every single group used Psychonetics Aura without fail. Every single group. Every single one of them. Not a single group that beat Havoc within the 24-hour window. Actually, I think I might have been the only group to beat it within the first 24 hours. So everyone who beat it within 24 to like 32 hours was using Psychonetics Aura, and not a single team even considered using Assail. So if you want the answer
Yeah.
to Assail or Psychonetics Aura, I feel like that answers it.
Yep. But that's how I feel like a sale, even for casuals, just kind of just deserves B. Honestly, maybe a high B, but I don't think it deserves A.
Nah, man, because the way I view it is if you're playing below Auric level, people don't even know to use their ultimate. They might use it like 5 times
That's
a run.
true. Yeah, that's true.
And then you consider how good Assail is when there's never any armored targets, and you get long stretches for it to regenerate between each encounter. Because I'm thinking like on this list, dude, I'm thinking like below Auric level here, you know?
Oh, we're not going into Auric for the casuals because I feel like
Maybe
casuals play Auric
a
sometimes,
few
right?
of them do, yeah. But I'm thinking like
Yeah,
for this, I'm thinking Malice to wait, bro,
like
the fall
Damnation.
of Diddy? The fall of Diddy. What
The
the fuck is
fall.
this? Bro, what
Puff,
the
no.
fuck do they have on Prime Video these days? What the hell? Bro, the fall of Diddy? And why does he look like a demon? What the fuck is this?
That's a good
Bro, the
advertisement
fall
right
of
there.
E. Diddy? The fall of Mr. E. Diddy?
Mystery. Oh no.
Bro, this is
We
how
love
they.
Mystery. Go subscribe to
This
Mystery.
is how. This is, bro, right here. Mr. E. Diddy gets his own fucking HBO special on Prime Video. This is how he fell off when he stopped making Darktide videos. Okay,
Oh gosh. But either
what's.
or, I'm content with it. It's yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's talk Psyker auras. And this is easy. 7%, 7.5% elite damage. Like, now I'll put this in C tier just
It's
for
C.
dots.
It's
Just
like
for dots. Just for dots. Like
yeah.
shredders and soul blaze on crushers and shit in Havoc. This is okay.
Also, double Psyker is really common in Havoc, and so having
Yes.
one Psyker run Seer's Presence, the other one's basically just going to be running Kinetic Presence. So it just makes sense.
And I think for casuals, this is C tier as well. Like, nobody's even
Yep.
going to notice it. But
Yep.
it's going to be there doing things. Seer's Presence is easy fucking S tier. 10% alt cooldown is 10%
Yeah.
alt cooldown. This is the most premium Psyker thing. Like, and it's right next to Psychonetics Aura as well. Weird how Psyker has 2 auras that do the same thing, huh? But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean 10% alt cooldown means 10% more abilities across 4 players. It's like 40% more ultimates if you're using quick spammable ones, which, let's be honest, this is quick and spammable, 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 this is quick and spammable. All the S tier abilities are quick and spammable.
So this might be a little controversial. I think that Seer's Presence for casuals
I think it fucking
specifically
sucks. I think it sucks.
sucks because
I think it's
new players
terrible.
aren't
Yeah.
using their abilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
No.
I- I'd say it's maybe a C because if we're talking about like damnation players who are kind of like dipping their toes into Oryx, like they kind of get it.
Look, I'll
Like
give it
they're
a
using
high
their
D, but
abilities more often.
dude,
Yeah, there
dude,
you go, high
you,
D.
you, you,
But yeah,
every 1 in 10th ability use, this gives you a 1 for free. So unless you are
yeah,
rapidly using 10 abilities, this has little to no impact.
yep. And then if you think that we're lying about people not using their abilities in lower difficulty content, go play with some new players.
Yeah,
You'll see
dude,
it,
I,
man.
I made a
You'll
George
see it.
Droid character, and I was playing like difficulty 2 and 3 and stuff. Man, those guys are not good. Which
Yep, and that's okay. They're learning the game.
they're like 3 hours in, so of course.
Yeah, but yeah, they're just not using all their tools. So
Okay, I don't remember
crit.
the name. I don't remember the name of this aura. I just know it gives you
Uh,
5% crit. Prescience.
Prescience,
Okay,
prescience.
so this shit is actually really good. All 4 of these
Yeah, it
nodes are
is.
fantastic. And that retroactively makes this better because these nodes are fantastic. You want these nodes for this. Honestly, there is an argument for using Prescience over Seer's Presence now in Gunpsyker, I think, because you want to be over here anyways. So like you go boom, boom, boom. It's only 1 point. You're only spending 1
Yeah,
point to get over here and take this stuff. And this is 5% crit chance. This is 5% crit chance. 10% crit chance is not nothing to sneeze at. I'm actually
yeah.
gonna put
I
I'm actually gonna
I
put
like it for
Prescience.
Gunpsyker.
I'm gonna put it in like B, maybe A tier. Like I'm gonna put it in B tier for now. But 5% crit chance is not nothing. That is a
I
weapon
would
perk.
say for the hardcore players, it's I guess if we're talking Maelstrom and above, you're not going to take it in Havoc, but if you're a Gunpsyker in Arc Maelstroms, then it's going to be really, really good to take. But yeah, for a lot of staff builds, you're not touching this thing.
Yeah, because Seer's presence is just better and it's right there and you don't need those nodes.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at the effect of 5% crit chance for 4 players. That's like adding a weapon perk, a tier 4 weapon perk, because the tier 4 perk for crit chance is 5%. So
Hmm.
this is like giving all 4 team members a third roll on their weapon, which is, I mean, and crit chance is primo. So like, you know.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think for casuals, this is like A tier because like
It's like the
it's
best passive buff for Psyker that you can give your team.
yeah. All right. You know what
All right,
time it
Venting
is.
Shriek. Yeah. The
This shit
Shrieky
is game breaking.
Shriek.
This shit is game breaking. I think Havoc has shown that overcapping dots is probably the most ridiculous thing you can do in Darktide.
Yeah.
Overcapping dots is so overwhelmingly powerful that it is the only way to consistently just work down giant groups of super tanky enemies.
Also in a group with two very good Psychers who are both running Shriek,
Oh
your
yeah,
gunner problem
you just
kind
you
of
just
ceases to exist
yeah, because
because you're
it has so much
always
range.
putting so many. Yeah, there's so much range. It's basically hitting things through walls too.
No,
Like it's
it does hit through walls. So
it's
that's the thing.
nuts.
This thing hits through walls. This thing can knock dogs off people if they make a drop
Yeah.
down, like if they don't make the drop down. This thing can be spammed like every fucking 5 seconds. This thing, also, another thing about Havoc specifically, this still takes like 60% heat off you when, you have that like venting reduction. So,
Yep.
like, playing a Psyker without this is kind of brutal. But playing with this, oh my God, it just enables so much shit.
Yeah. Then you consider you're probably taking something like empathic evasion, and you're just holding W and pressing your Inferno staff left click and just spamming venting shriek whenever it comes up. And gunners just can't do anything to you.
Is this A tier or S tier for casuals? No, I think it's A
They're
tier.
not using it. They're not
Yeah,
using
they're
it,
not.
but it
They're
also saves a lot of noobs from exploding themselves.
yeah,
So it is actually really good for them too. It's A.
yeah. For the more casual audience, this thing's best use is saving them from exploding themselves.
Yeah.
They're not overstacking dots. They're not using it to scam out like an extra cast on a staff. This thing, it just enables
But they're
so
using
many
it.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta
Dude,
be super high tier.
the bubble. What do you think?
Havoc definitely makes the bubble a lot better. I'll say that.
Yeah. It makes it so that your team can play slower if you want to play slower.
I think the bubble's C
If you
tier.
don't have a bunch of crackheads.
I
I think
think the
it's
bubble's C
B.
tier. Nah, fuck you. I
I
think
think it's a solid
Vince
B.
McMahon gif. Vince McMahon gif. I think I think
I
the
think when the
bubble.
majority of teams that are clearing Havoc are using this and they're relying on it to deal with gunners, I think it's pretty B tier.
No,
Like
but dude,
it's not
I
something
view
that
it
the
I
dudes
view
who
it
are cracked are using.
I view it the same way I view this aura right here. Outside of Havoc, this
Really?
thing is fucking garbage. It
Yeah, you don't use it.
sucks. You don't ever use this anywhere outside of Havoc. But it's good inside of Havoc. So like that's what's saving it from the pits of D tier.
Well, so it's kind of like Smite in that sense, though. In that Smite is really good in Havoc, and so it gets its A tier
Yeah, but
because it's super usable there.
the thing is, Smite's just a blitz. You can play Psyker without ever touching your blitz if there's no good situation for it. You don't really ever want to
Oh,
play
that's
Psyker
true.
without using your ability.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The opportunity cost, if there's never a good situation to smite and just scam out a shit ton of damage with it, then oh well, who cares? That probably wasn't what you were going to try to do anyways. But
This is going to be a high C then when it comes
yeah.
down to it.
Yeah, that's what I think. C
Yeah.
borderline B tier. That's what I think.
Hmm.
I think for casuals it's like B, maybe A tier. Cuz it
People
just
don't
gives.
stand in it. People don't
Oh,
stand
you're
in it.
right.
I've ran this. I've ran this in a lot of different just regular damnation and Oryx, and people don't stand in it. People ignore it.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people that are smart enough to recognize it's there don't want to stand in it.
Yeah, or they're just doing their own thing. They're just trying to top the charts. So, but yeah,
Near
yeah, it's good. Scars Gaze is good. The only issue with Scars Gaze is you're not running Guncyker and High Havocs. You're just not bringing it.
Why? Okay, so Discord just I was screaming why from the back of my room and Discord cut it out, but I see that my mic went up on OBS.
That's perfect though.
Fat Shark. Fat Shark, you and me, we need to have a little fucking talk. And by that I mean I need to strap you to a fucking chair and I need to like torture you. Why the fuck? Why? Dude, I beat the fuck out of my dick so hard that my leg has gone numb. This fucking thing, ball spam psyker, is the worst thing to ever exist in this game's history. Bro, those gifs where motherfuckers are shooting like 5 balls a second and those balls are doing like 1,000 damage, balls
Yeah.
on your face, balls on your face.
Yup.
Get rid of this. It is so buggy, but it is so powerful. If you are going to cheat and abuse a macro, this shit is so busted. It is so buggy. Half the time it doesn't even fucking work. Dude, 30% of the time it works 70% of the time. And 70% of the time it works like 40% of the time. This thing is so buggy, you cannot count on it, but it's pretty good. Fuck this thing, dude. And fuck the fact that you made this. I hate you, Fat Shark. Fuck you. Fuck Sweden. Fuck my Vita Helvek. Okay, so Scryer's Gaze is really good. It's good on Guncyker, and I must begrudgingly admit that, honestly, I feel like Scryer's Gaze should be up here, but that means I have to acknowledge Macro, Lightning Staff, Ball Spam Psyker. And I really
Yeah,
don't
I'm
want
not
to.
even I'm not even acknowledging it because I don't think that it's intended at
Well,
all.
it's against the TOS. Like
Yeah.
they actually tell you to not, like, you cannot use. They're never gonna fucking ban anyone for it. But let's put it this way: if Fat Shark actually had an active moderation team, you would get banned for using a macro with Scryer's Gaze. Because it
Yeah,
absolutely
for
goes
sure.
against their TOS on macros. But they're never gonna do anything, so people are gonna keep doing it. And
Yep.
it is, dude, you can drop like a 2.5 million damage game in like 25 minutes with this build. And most of it's done through a macro, so you just hold down one button. Like, it's carpal tunnel free. Like,
Yeah.
so let's put it this way. If you acknowledge Ball Spam Psyker as a valid build, then this is game breaking. Because it's
I think
literally
because
game
this
breaking.
might potentially be the final tier list. There's a high chance this gets fixed in the next 2 years. So I don't think you should put it in game breaking. Maybe S because it's usable for Guncyker. Honestly, maybe even high A because it's just going to be usable for Guncyker. And by the time this gets fixed, it's not going to be all that great for that build. Like, yeah, you can still qual cancel, but even if you're perfectly qual canceling and you're not running the macro, it's not anything that's too impressive.
True. I think it's
So
S
on
tier
the
just because of
condition,
everything that it does.
yeah, I'll concede that, but I wouldn't give it a high S.
Yeah, it's probably pretty low on the S tier. So, Scryer's Gaze, I'm not going to go on too long about this shit. This video is going to be long enough as is. But the thing you need to understand with Scryer's Gaze is that, like, it just does everything. Gives you move speed, gives you toughness damage reduction, gives you a ton of toughness, gives you damage, gives you crit damage, gives you headshot damage, gives you crit chance. Literally everything. Every single stat in the game is increased, except for attack speed, which shows you just how premium that fucking stat is. Every single line of text that you can get to increase your damage, you get with this. And if you play well, you can maintain it like all the time.
Which I think makes it garbage for casual
I
players,
was
dude.
just about to
I
say,
think
dude,
this is the weakest,
this thing
the weakest
sucks.
ability for casual
It
players.
is fucking trash. If you cannot maintain
Yeah,
it, you might as well not have an ultimate.
pretty much. That's all there is to say about that, I think.
Keystones. I think
I
Warp
like I
Siphon.
like all the I like all the Psyker Keystones.
I think Warp
I think
Siphon is
they're
like
really
an A tier.
nice.
I don't think it's quite S tier because it just isn't like on the power. Like, I look at Martyrdom and the potential fuckery you can get up to with that, and then I look at 25% crit chance for your gun and your melee and your knife and shit, and then I look at 15%
Yeah.
attack speed, and I look at like guaranteed range quit and reload, and then I look at warp siphon. And I just don't see it as good as those three.
It's not as good, but in my mind, Warp Siphon is like the ideal keystone.
Yeah,
It
I think it's
enables your
perfectly balanced.
ability.
I think it's a perfect
Yeah,
keystone.
it's perfectly balanced. It's good, and it's just really good to have. Like you're not gonna say, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna bring Warp Siphon" when you're running like a staff build or
Let's put
whatever,
it
right?
this
Like
way.
a Inferno staff build.
No one is going to try and argue that Keystoneless Psyker is even a build because at the very least, no matter what you're playing, you can just throw on warp charges and everything is just better.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
But yeah.
because if we look like Essence Harvest, okay, that's fine. 4% base damage for porch charge. Hey man, I'll take 20% damage to my fucking Soul Flame dot. Sure. Minus peril gen if you're noob, like, and then you got this, so you can just always have maximum, and then it takes the ultimate away, so you can alt harder. Like, it's just hard to find any fault. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think warp charges are the perfect keystone. I think it is
Yeah.
perfectly balanced. I think it is a perfect amount of investment for what it is. I think if everything in Darktide was balanced to the level warp charges were balanced to, I think Darktide would be like a perfectly balanced game.
Yeah. And then for I think for casuals, it's probably B because if you're not getting the full value, if you're not spamming your abilities, but you're still getting value from just having the charges. There are people that'll like in a damnation, just a regular damnation, they'll equip
No, dude,
this
I
with
still think it's
the.
A. Honestly,
You still think it's A?
yeah, because like there isn't that much extra value you can squeeze out of it. It's more about having the charges all the time. It's more about getting the charges. That's where the skill comes from. But
Well,
getting the
the
charges.
extra value is the like basically using venting shriek whenever it's up,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah. But
enables
hold
more
on, but
venting
hold on, but
shrieks.
hold on, but hold on. Even if you aren't using it for the, that's what makes this so perfectly balanced. Even if you aren't using it for the extra venting streaks, it's still 20% damage and like less peril gen. So like even if you aren't venting shriek, let's say you're a total noob, you're using the minus peril gen node, you're using the damage increase, you're using the fucking 40% minus peril gen. This just lets you sit there and staff the entire game and never do anything else.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to take like Disrupt Destiny for that if you're just not
No,
really trying to worry about ability like uptime.
no, because unless you're going to use Void Strike staff, you cannot use staff in Destiny. It doesn't do anything.
That's
Whereas
true.
you can just
Well,
sit back with this with trauma staff and it's just a trauma staff plus 20% damage. That's what I'm saying, man. Like it's just
but
no
I think
matter.
it's 25% increased damage with
You're
Destiny
right.
now.
Or
So
wait, with Destiny?
yeah, because
No, Destiny's
you
yeah.
get flat damage increase. Yeah. So if you're
Yeah, but
not
then you got to
spamming your
worry about the mark
abilities,
target. You got to do all
that's
that
true. That's true.
shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, dude. This is literally just throw it on, enjoy like 20 whatever, like 6
It's
times 4
semantics.
damage. There you go.
It's
Yeah.
easy to use. It's easy to use, so I concede. Yeah, it's A.
And whenever you do press your ability, the ability comes back faster, which lets you press it again. Even if you aren't seeking that out, you still have the option.
Right, right. That's very true. The boy, the empowered psionics. Yeah, middle of the pack. You use it with smite. Have a good time. So I would say B. I know you might be thinking about putting in an A. I would say B
I
specifically
think it
because
just
you're
has to go
only
next to.
taking this.
Yeah,
You're
you're
only
only
taking this
taking
with
this for
smite
smite.
though.
Yeah.
You don't take this for brain rupture. You don't take this for a sale unless I know there are some people who try to make a sale like their main damage thing, but you're not taking this as a hardcore player for anything other than smite. So it's just that super situational, like,
I
hey, I'm
hate
bringing
how
this
this
into
is
Havoc
even
40.
I hate how this is even up here. This is only up here because it makes smite do 200% damage, which makes like fuck man. Why? 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 Why is smite in the fucking game?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna give this break-in for casuals because it's just sit it and forget it and
Because
makes
of the
your smite.
combo.
It make
Yeah.
your smite and your assail just literally game winning.
And then the way that you accrue stacks as well is just so passive. So it's like,
Yeah. Ah. This does
yeah,
nothing that you really care about other than make Smite do like 50 damage a tick. But man, Smite that does 50 damage a tick is pretty fucking good.
oh yeah,
Yeah, because, like, hold on, let me pull this shit up. Look at this. Look at this. The Empowered Brain Rupture is okay, but you're not really going to use it. Empowered Smite is gay. Empowered Assail is nice, not consuming any charges and just getting a free shard. Like, it's nice. It's a fun build. Assail, Scryer's Gaze, Gunpsyker, Psionics. It's a fun build. It's not better than Destiny, but it's fun.
right.
But man, 200% smite damage. Turns out if you just add a big enough damage multiplier behind literally anything, it'll eventually become pretty good.
Yeah. And enough enemies on the screen, of course. Other caveat.
And those enemies have to
But
be tanky enough. Yeah.
yeah, self-explanatory. Disrupt Destiny. What do you think? I think for Disrupt Destiny, I think it's A. I think
Yeah.
that it enables gunpsychers. It makes them really, really fun. If for whatever reason, like they were to buff the ammo economy in Havoc, I think that in a world where you do see gunpsychers and gunluggers, it would be really good. But even if you're just a gunpsycher in Arc Maelstroms or whatever, still really, really good keystone. Really enables the
So
playstyle.
Disrupt Destiny gives you a flat damage bonus, weak spot damage, critical damage, movement speed, and gives you toughness. And
Yep.
now that everything about it works consistently, like you never have to worry about it not working, you could just kind of slap this on, man. If you're playing Gunpsyker or Void Strike, you just kind of slap this on, and it just generically makes everything better.
Yeah, and then for
I think it's like
casuals,
B tier because they're gonna
it's
have some
probably
issues with the
closer to
with the
B.
with
Yeah.
the mark target. Yeah, I mean Destiny. There's really not much to say about Destiny, honestly. Like it
Yeah, it
just generic.
just kind of works.
Yeah, it just generically makes everything better, except for like three of the staves. But even yeah, because the three staves would rather have the base damage increase instead. Yeah,
Did one thing I just thought of is imagine if the veteran had Disrupt Destiny instead of
that would be.
Marksman's Focus,
Oh my
or if
god.
Marksman's Focus was Disrupt Destiny. That'd be so nuts. That'd be
Yeah,
so fucking
seriously.
crazy. Oh boy. Well, we gonna talk about the
My
Ogrin?
opinions on this class have changed so much. And I'm also gonna say this. Hey, I'm just gonna say this real quick. I'm gonna say this, and all the people that disagree with me on this one, you can go fuck yourself. The Ogren was in the state that he was in for 2 years. I did my ranting about Ogren stream and then spent the last month bitching about Ogren nonstop. And what do we get? As soon as I world's first Havoc 40 and I say this class is terrible and probably like shouldn't even be used here ever for any reason. First thing we get in the very next trailer, Ogren rework. You can come to whatever conclusions there you want. You can come to whatever conclusions you want. And I know, they would never admit it. But when you get the first person in the world saying that I don't really think this class has much of a place here, it's usable, but it's just an active detriment and you shouldn't bring it. And like 50,000 people, it's like one of the most popular videos of all time for the game. Uh that's your representation of the class for 90% of your audience that's coming into the game like new. Boy, sure is funny how they made it a top priority to fix that class, isn't it? Isn't it funny how literally they went from nerfing the class to okay, we need to buff this and give a big rework here. Isn't that such a funny shakeup that happened so abruptly? You can come to whatever conclusions you want. And I'm sure
Yeah.
and I'm sure they'll
The
tell people like Hank and Dorn or whatever, like, oh, no, that's totally unrelated. Please believe us. Smile.
the caveat that I want to put on this before we start talking about Ogren is Of course, there have been people that have cleared like Havoc 40 with all 4 Ogryn. You know, they're doing challenge runs, no
Oh, I don't give a
range,
fuck about
all
any of that. That
Ogryn,
doesn't that
whatever,
doesn't
blah
change
blah
my
blah blah blah.
opinion on Ogren at all.
So you can apply everything that you're thinking about, like, oh well, Ogryn is totally fine to every other ability or blitz in the game.
Ogren
If
is
you're
dog
good
shit.
enough,
Ogren is dog shit,
yeah,
and I'm tired
I
of
think Ogryn is
pretending.
dog shit
I
too.
hate how everyone
Yeah,
has to say, "Oh, well, Ogren's fine. You can bring him." Nah, dude, fuck that, man. Bringing in Ogren, even if you're like a super high skill Ogren, it just straight up makes it harder. I would rather have a mediocre player playing any other class than like Reginald playing Ogren on my team. And that's not even a diss on Reginald. That's a diss on Ogren. View that
yeah,
statement more as I think Ogren is just that fucking bad.
yeah. You can complete stuff on it if you're good enough.
The
But
fact
my
that
my
playing
angle, dude.
Ogren is considered a challenge run speaks
Exactly.
volumes to how
Yeah.
bad this fucking class actually
That's
is.
exactly what I was about to say. My angle though is that say you're a new player and this is the first class that you pick. A lot of people will quit the game because it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to play. Regardless of how it does in those like lower levels of difficulty, it just doesn't feel good.
So this caveat is because I'm probably going to be rating a lot of things C and D tier for this class because I'm not going to rate it
Yep.
in relation to Ogren. I'm rating it in relation
The
to
whole
everything
sandbox.
else.
Yep.
All right, speaking
So with
of
that, let's start.
Frag Bomb. Frag Bomb is like garbage. Like, okay, it
Yep.
has its moments where it's good, but only getting one of them is whatever. So you throw it, you kill one, you clear out one screen, then what? Veteran has an unlimited source of screen clears. Psyker has a literally free source of screen stunning and clearing. Zealot can do the same thing with Flamer. Okay, so Ogren's extremely limited screen clear sucks, and it doesn't even clear everything because it doesn't kill armor. Guess what? This with Uncanny does kill armor. This will kill armor eventually, on top of making them not move. So, like, okay, big man, what are you bringing? Oh, a thing that wipes out all the trash on the screen and, like, halves helps the armor guys. Okay, everyone else is just bringing something better and is more spammable. Okay, this sucks.
Yeah, Havoc 40 with a lot of things having like a lot of things being tankier has really shown this blitz to be bad. And when you take into account things like pus hardened armor, like that modifier, or pus hardened skin, whatever it's called, it actually makes it useless. It actually makes it really
I
bad.
do think for casuals it's actually pretty decent though, because they can just like throw it and everything's gone and they don't have to worry anymore.
Yeah, well, it's a good oh shit button, and then it's also got good placement because it's right next to a really good talent.
The box is probably tied with cracks for the worst.
I think it's the worst. I
Dude,
think
I
the box is the
yeah,
worst, dude.
I think box is worse than cracks, and I
I
think
think it's useless.
I think this shit actively hurts you just on virtue of not taking rock. Like, dude,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
blitz is fucking foul. Like, this thing stinks. PU, what is that smell? Oh, it's Ogren's fucking dead rats in his lunchbox? Okay. Like, oh my god, this thing is awful. I can smell an
Yeah.
Ogren that takes the lunchbox because whatever they have in there is just foul, dude. This thing sucks.
And then I think even for casuals, it's C tier because
No,
people
I put it in D tier, dude. Or no,
you
I
put it
put
in
it in
D,
hurt. No, I put it in hurt you because
hurts you.
it's just that fucking bad to take. The opportunity cost of not taking the other two grenades is so
The other
high
two, yeah.
that just by virtue of clicking this fucking button, you have made your build noticeably worse.
I'm trying to think of any scenario where the box does something, but all you do is take it for the penances. That's it. You get the penances and then you never run it again. Rock
The
though,
Rock?
oh man,
No, no.
B tier.
Ogrins, get mad at me. Rock is only getting
Yeah.
B tier. And it's only getting B tier because of all the little bullshit you guys can do with it. Rock cancel, throw it out. Why? Why the fuck is Rock 45-second cooldown?
Yeah, it should be like 30 or
No,
15
it
even,
should be
really.
like fucking 15-second cooldown,
Yeah.
dude. The veteran's getting a grenade like every 15 fucking seconds these days in Havoc, and the Rock is nowhere even close to as good as a Shredder. Honestly,
Yeah, it's
Rock is like top of C tier, low end of B tier. Like,
I'd say it's B because it's the thing that's enabling Ogrins right now, being able to rock cancel, being able to dodge with it to increase your speed, like
why do you have to do
it's
any of this bullshit? That's my point, though.
because the class sucks. That's
Like, dude, Ogren fuck, man. Ogryn is fucking garbage. Ogryn is
It's
fucking
holding everything
foul.
together.
Yeah, Rock is like the glue that makes Ogryn tick.
Yeah.
And then I think I don't even know where to put this for casuals, because like they're not using Rock to its potential.
I think C is okay for it because it is free. Like you are killing mutants with it and stuff like that. See a lot of casuals who are pulling that off at least. You could run it with a Rumbler, I suppose.
Okay, I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
give Charge like A tier, because this is actually a really good ultimate. If it was on another class,
it
it would
is.
be crazy good. This is basically Fury of the Faithful, but a little bit worse.
Yeah. And then the functionality's a teensy bit different because you can stagger bosses with it.
Bro, why
Fun
the fuck
fact,
does the buff only last 5 seconds? The buff should last like 15 seconds, period.
that'd be so nice.
I
But
just
if you're running something like Skull Crusher on your weapon, which if you're using the shield, you're probably running Skull Crusher. You stagger the boss really quickly with this charge, pop him with the heavy attack, and then boom, 40% increased damage because of Skull Crusher. So it's decent. It's good for that.
I think for
Enables
casuals,
solos.
I think this is S tier. The fact that they can just click it, get movement speed, get a bunch of damage reduction, like, yeah,
I think it's
it's
A tier still, dude. Just comparing it to all the other
there's not
abilities in the
gonna be a
game,
single S tier thing for Ogryn, dude. Fuck.
there isn't. They don't deserve it. The for if this thing like made it so that you ignored bullets, like ignored ranged attacks, I think then it would be S tier. But it's not completely a get out of jail free card. I've seen people pop this and just die. They just die immediately because they charge a bunch of gunners or something, and they completely underestimate like the opportunity to use the ability.
Truth nuke. Taunt, my beloved. Dude, my opinion on Taunt has soured hard with Havoc.
Yeah, same.
It just doesn't do enough.
Yep.
Taunt needs to be, you know what Taunt needs to be? This 15 seconds, it needs to shoot out like 5 waves over the course of this 15 seconds.
Yeah,
Those
it needs to
waves
be the
keep
Bard and ult.
applying the 25% damage.
Yeah, it just needs to be the Ironbreaker ultimate, honestly. I
I
think
kind of feel
it's
like it's D tier. Like, it's kind of not good at all in Havoc. Like, the 25% damage is nice for bosses, but that's kind of the only time it's nice. And this thing,
I'm thinking.
dude, this thing needs like a 20-second cooldown, and it just needs to be like a 25% damage beacon. Because, like, I recognize in the previous tier list, the only reason I was rating this highly at all is the fact that it was just giving all the dots 25% damage. Like, that's literally the only valuable thing about this. And, like, but the 45-second cooldown kind of kills it. And Ogryn has, like, the worst cooldown node out of all 4 of the classes. So, like, you know.
I'm trying to think of any saving graces, like anything.
Like, I guess it's nice to
But
be able to pull aggro off a
nothing is
boss,
jumping
but,
out.
like, dude, if your teammates need that to survive, you're not winning anyway.
Even considering the effects of taunt, which aren't too crazy in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important to take. Like there's never a reason to take this over the charge.
The only thing going for this is, like, one set of enemies gets 25% damage for, like, 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think because this doesn't interrupt anything, you just use it.
Mhm.
I think that if they ever lower the cooldown on this thing, it might actually be pretty usable, even if even in its current state. But they would have to lower that cooldown big
So it's
time.
either, like, high D tier or low C tier, like.
I'm gonna call it low C. Oh wait, this is the hardcore playlist. No, it's
Yeah.
D. It's D for
Oh.
the hardcore players.
Oh.
Yeah. For the casual players, it's C. There you go.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, Ogryn Bros, but your class fucking
Yeah.
sucks. I mean, I'm inclined to agree with this, honestly. Because, like, it doesn't change the game if you're on, like, Malice. It's just a boss damage increase.
Yeah.
I
And
think
then Point Blank
Gunlugger is
Barrage.
fucking trash. I think Gunlugger is the worst gun build in the game. I think Gunpsyker is just this, but better in every way. It takes less ammo, it's faster, it's more versatile. Like, the only thing
Yeah.
Gunlugger does that anyone ever talks about is, bro, but he kills a boss so fast. Fucking dude, do you remember the video I posted about Psyker with the dueling sword and I'm hitting the boss for like 10k crits? Like, brother, yeah, this kills it quicker, but like, dude, I was in Telepot's Discord and they fucking hate gunluggers, dude. And honestly, it's fair. It's like, dude, the fucking gunlugger Ogren, when I ask him not to take like 90% of the ammo packs on the map. Cause it's like, dude, you just have to take. So, and then the penance tied to this is such bullshit. You just have to hold down M1 for like 12 hours. Like,
Oh yeah.
fucking hell, man.
And
Everything about this
the
sucks.
burst limiter override penance, dude. Fuck. But yeah, for hardcore players, I think that
I
you
don't think
can't
this
run
does
this in
anything.
Havoc.
Yeah,
It doesn't
no.
do anything. You
Like, I
can't
think
run it
this
in
is the
Havoc.
I think this is the I think this might dude, I don't know, man. Fuck, I feel like Ogren's ultimates are tied for the worst. Like, Infiltrate has to be better than these two.
In the context of Havoc, I think Taunt is better than
No,
Infiltrate,
man.
but Infiltrate's
No,
still better
Infiltrate
than
suppresses all the
Gunlugger.
gunners. You could just press this and suppress all the gunners. I would rather have
Yeah, but
map-wide gunner suppression than any of this bullshit.
what is the range on the suppression for
It's
Infiltrate?
like 40 meters. Like, it's pretty big.
Is it? Oh shit, I didn't
It's
know that.
like book.
I don't even want to think about it honestly for these three. We'll get
They
to that
all
when we do the
suck.
rating. Yeah, they all suck. We'll
And
get
then
to
I
that when
think
we do
for
the rating.
casuals, it's like D tier still. Like, I think it's not good. I mean, maybe
Can I be
maybe I
controversial for a second?
give it C tier just because it deletes bosses. But like, what? Go ahead, be controversial.
I think this hurts the team. So
Really?
so yes. So I actually love Point Blank Barrage. I think that with the Twin Link Stubbers, melting bosses, doing all the damage, putting out all the burn, it's really awesome.
No, you
But
know
the
what?
issue is that if you're running zealots or veterans on the team, they just don't get any ammo
I just
because it's
realized
that
something. Hold
ammo
on, hold on.
hungry.
I just thought about something. Every single other build in the game does as much or more damage than a Gunlugger Ogren without taking up like any of the ammo that this takes up.
Yeah, yeah.
This takes
So
up
it
literally like
disables
90%.
your team.
This takes up virtually every ammo drop on the map to do what every other build just does for free.
Yep.
No, this might actually just be the worst ultimate in the game because of that. Literally, the only thing going for this is the quickness at which it kills bosses. But dude, who fucking cares?
Yeah, there are so many other tools to do that. It's a cool
Dueling
gimmick
sword,
for Ogren
crack
specifically,
grenades, even like fuck.
but the fact that, and then also the fact that this only works with one weapon type. You can't use it with any other Ogren weapon.
Which is
It's kind of
insane,
sad.
by the way. Like, there's
It's
no
kind
other
of
ultimate
sad.
that's that limited.
Yeah, it might be the worst ability. Like we understand that in casual games, like it performs. You pop it, things die, but
But
it's
the
such a
cost
detriment
to
to your
yeah.
team. The cost is just it's too much.
Yeah, no, I actually think this is the worst ultimate in the game. Like, the actual impact of activating it is good. Like, in a vacuum, if you had unlimited ammo, I would honestly probably rate this like up here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
because ammo is a limited resource and in Havoc it is an ultra limited resource, this is like just a non-usable alt. It's a non-starter at the highest level of gameplay. It's just an active drag in Maelstrom because everyone's like, well, I would like that ammo, and I'll, you might end the game as a gunlugger with like 800,000 damage. Meanwhile, the veteran and zealot are looking like I could have done the same damage without, taking up as much ammo. I think it's so funny. Let me put this shit into perspective for all of you good folks watching. Every other class in the game can either compete with or do more damage than a Gunlugger Ogren, just like in the end scoreboard, picking up like only 20% of the ammo on the map, or for like a Psyker, none of the ammo. This needs to pick up like 80+% of the ammo on the map to do what everyone else does on every other build all of the time without any of that. And he has to give up his ultimate and use a specific weapon. You have to use a specific ultimate, a specific weapon, and deprive your team of most of the ammo just to do what every other build just does without any of those restrictions.
Not only that, but you're also nerfing yourself. Like it pretty much makes it so that you can't effectively perform in melee. Because you're giving up batter, you're giving up a 10% heavy melee damage increase from just a passive node, and then you're giving up Bone Breaker's aura, which is 10% heavy attack for the entire team, which actually makes the dueling sword kind of go crazy.
Yeah, because it
But
stacks with thrust.
yeah, but you're giving up so much to take this thing. And to only just use it with this very limited vacuum playstyle where you're sucking up all the ammo on the map. I'm done talking about this, dude. Let's move on. This is
No,
just
no, no. I am
oh
not
my
done
god.
talking about this. Hold on. Hold on.
It's racking my brain.
No,
It's
because this
destroying my
ability
mind.
fucking sucks. 25% rate of fire, 50% brace move speed, and 10% close range damage. This isn't even good. This isn't even good. An 80-second cooldown. It's the longest cooldown in the game, I think, for an ultimate.
Yeah. You
And then
you
right here,
need light 'em up and you need burst limiter override with maximum firepower to enable it. And it just
this has
oh
to be the
gosh.
worst. Like 30% rending. Okay, this is nice, I guess, but it's not going to be like all that special versus a boss. And then, like, dude, like 25% fire rate and 15% damage and burn. Unironically, I bet you, like, out DPS this shit with, like, a fucking Guncyker Infernus Recon Lasgun. Like, it's so fucking bad. And then you consider Scryer's Gaze also buffs your melee as much as it buffs your gun. And it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is so bad. It is so fucking bad. Bone Breaker's aura, however, is probably like the best part about Ogren.
Yeah, I actually like this. I think it's one of the better auras in the game in terms of balance and what it does. I like it. I like Bumberger's aura. Nothing bad to say here.
I'm giving it A tier for casuals as well. It's literally just 10%
Yeah.
damage. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
And considering how the dueling sword is literally just heavy, 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 heavy. This is basically just 10% more damage for the best weapon in the game. Okay, all right.
Yep.
Then we have what might actually just be the worst aura in the game.
This is the worst aura. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
25.
Whoever designed this, like the Ogren is clearly designed to be like a class that's like in melee all the time, even for, Gunlugger, point blank barrage, point blank. And
Yeah.
somebody designed an aura that boosts your toughness replenishment for coherency, which is disabled when you're engaged in melee combat.
I'm so
I just don't
happy I
get it.
made I'm so happy I made that fucking video about slots, by the way,
Dude.
where I went over that,
Yeah.
because like that one video was like a light switch, and it immediately changed everyone's opinion on like Ogren and everything else. Because like the Ogrenomicon, Ogren in general, all this toughness replenishment shit, that video hit the fucking front page of Reddit like the planes hit the Twin Towers, dude. Like everything changed after that. People finally were like, wait a second, this does fucking suck.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude,
It's bad for casuals too.
this
'Cause casuals
isn't
will take
bro.
it.
No, listen. No, this is an active detriment for casuals. Because
Yeah.
listen to me, okay? You can get this effect, but 30% on a fucking curio.
Yep.
Seer's Presence gives you 10%. You can only get 4% of this effect on a curio. So, like, let's just do some very basic game balance, like, law of equivalent exchange, like, alchemy bullshit here right now. So 4% plus 4% is 8%. So this gives you 2.5 curios worth of this stat line. This gives you 0.8 curios worth of this same stat line. So even if we assume this stat line were equal to this stat line, this would need to give you approximately 70, or no, I'm sorry, to be 2.8, it would need to give you 75% toughness replenishment for you and your allies in coherency, just to be equivalent in magnitude to Seer's Presence.
Yep.
So not only is this thing not equivalent in its magnitude, the actual stat line is not as good as Seer's Presence's stat line. So, like,
Yeah.
this is just bad in so many ways.
I think what this needs to be decent, possibly usable, would be just to make it so that coherency regeneration is always happening if the Ogryn takes this.
Yeah, no, that alone would put this like an S tier if it did
It
that.
would. Yeah, it would.
That would change the game. That would change everything about Ogryn.
Yep.
And then 20% damage against suppressed enemies. Like, I kind of want to put this in D tier as well, but like, it's oh yeah, and then the active detriment for casuals. If an enemy's suppressed, they're dying not long after, with or without this. That's kind of how I view it.
One thing I noticed about coward culling is that, so let's say you're trying to benefit off of this as the Ogryn. Like you want to
Mhm.
get this damage increase. If you hit something with a twin leg stubber and you knock them down, knock them back, stagger them, stun them, that changes their condition from suppressed to staggered. And so you
True.
actually lose the
Yeah.
damage buff.
The only person
Um,
who can benefit from this is the
the
veteran.
vet.
And
The
yeah,
vet, that's it.
and that's if they aren't using plasma. No, this is D tier as well. Fuck. Like, dude,
Yeah.
yeah. Cause like the only only the veteran can really benefit from this. And only a veteran taking an auto gun can benefit from this. And the auto guns are like way out of the meta now. So like, who is
The
this
recon
for?
last gun will benefit from this because it's not staggering enemies. Because you're sacrificing
Dude,
collateral
and you know
anyways.
what? I think this is D tier for casuals as well, because casuals don't
Yeah.
even know how to fucking the suppression system works.
Yeah. No, it's just bad. It's just it needs to linger. This
And
damage
then you
bonus needs to
consider
linger on the
placement.
enemies.
Then you consider this placement is like in fucking
Exactly.
literal
Yeah.
no man's land, dude. We got it.
This whole right hand side of the Ogryn tree is there to enable one playstyle,
For one
but this
gun.
doesn't even this aura doesn't even benefit that playstyle too much. That's how bad it is. It's unfortunate, guys. It's unfortunate. It sucks. Just the Ogryn. Oh boy.
This is the worst keystone in the game. You cannot convince me that there is ever a time when this keystone makes your build better in any way. And do you know what is so fucking painful about this fucking keystone? You have to take it because of maximum firepower. And the only reason you have to take maximum firepower is because this
the
has an
cooldown.
80-second cooldown.
Exactly. Yeah. The justification of
This is an
good
arbitrary
because
yeah. I hate
Yeah.
when people tell me that this is good because of maximum firepower. They're like, bro, you're taking it because of maximum firepower. You're only taking maximum firepower because of an arbitrary restriction that only this build has to face and no other build
Correct.
has to deal with.
Another way to think about this is if you're an Ogryn player, are you ever taking this with Loyal Protector? Are you ever taking this with Indomitable? No. You're just not. It's never something you would even consider. You would never consider it. So the fact that you would never consider it makes it a bad keystone.
Yeah,
You
the
only
fact that this
consider it
exists,
for one thing. Not even just one
keystone, yeah.
ability, but one weapon. Just one weapon. Dude.
This has to be the worst keystone in the fucking game. And 8%, you're milking my cock for boy milk right now. This is insane. This needs to be like 25%. Minimum. This needs to be 25% that goes up to like 35% with this.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I cannot fathom how garbage this keystone actually is. It is so bad on just so many levels that it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing, Fat Shark? What are we doing here?
Yeah, dude. I mean, pretty much sums it up.
Even when it activates, it doesn't do anything. 8% chance of not consuming one bullet. Unless you're using like the kickback, you don't care about one particular bullet. So the only weapon that this can even be used with, the twin-linked heavy fucker, this thing, which this whole side of the tree is built for, like, dude.
Even then, you basically need to take all the keystone modifiers for it to even do what it's supposed to do, which is give you the
It's
cooldown reduction,
it's
reload
so
bullets
bad.
into the weapon. It's bad.
It's so bad. It is the worst fucking keystone in the game. It has to be.
Okay. Can we talk about these last two keystones at the same time?
I mean, they're basically the same thing.
Yeah. So I would put both of them in D tier, because of the way that both of them function. Um, maybe heavy hitter is like a bit better, but it's
I'd
still
put
D
heavy hitter
tier.
in C tier.
No, takes too long to get to. It's it's too it takes too long to get to. You compare it against every other keystone in the game, and it just the benefit is just not there. 25% increased damage.
Okay, hold
Like,
on.
okay.
25% increased damage, 10% attack speed. Okay, that's what we're working with. 10% attack speed
Yep.
and 25% increased damage. This is 4 times 6. So this is this is like 30% increased damage.
Yeah, 30% plus the
Okay.
cooldown reduction,
Okay.
plus the
Um
synergies with your abilities.
okay, hold on. This is
Oh
10% damage
gosh.
for the whole team and 20% damage on specific, or 20 plus percent damage on specific targets.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is like this is similar, but it gives damage to the whole team, and you only have to click a button to access it. You don't have to endlessly spam like heavy attacks.
Yep.
This does not even fucking compare. This is so much better. This
No, it
this
doesn't
is
compare to any of the
dude,
S
this is
tier.
like 50% damage and like 20 for fucking percent attack speed. Oh no. Okay, momentum. This is 15% damage and 15% attack speed, but it
Yep.
also gives you 30% toughness every 6 seconds. And it gives your guns attack speed as well.
And you don't have to think about it. Just kind of
And you don't have
for
to
good
endlessly spam.
players, for good players who are dodging
It
anyways and
turns
who
your
are moving around
dodges into
anyways.
offense, whereas this only
Yeah,
works when you spam heavy attacks. Uh-oh.
dude.
Ogren Bros.
I I don't like heavy hitter. I don't like the points that you have to take to get to heavy hitter. I think that it's the biggest point tax in the world. More people will run feel no pain because they don't want to take the point tax.
Yeah. Okay, so in implacable, this is fucking garbage. This sucks. This is
It's
terrible.
bad.
Damage
Yeah.
reduction while charging. You don't care. I mean, this is okay, but why isn't it like 10%? This is fine. Who gives a fuck about 10% rending?
No one cares about
You're
rending.
like
Yeah.
already uninterruptible because you're like ogre, and I don't even know what the fuck this does actually. This is good. So yeah, but then
Selenium
you just
destruction is good. Yep.
you go boom, 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 take this, take this, take this. Then yeah, you just go here because then you want where is it? Where is it? Where is it? You want bruiser.
Payback time.
Yeah, but
Payback
then
time.
these
You
two
want
fucking suck.
bruiser. You
Yeah,
want
yeah.
get stuck in. People take no pushover. People take
Nah,
it.
dude,
And
this
then
sucks. This sucks. This sucks. Once every 8 seconds, fuck off. I don't care if you can stagger a boss or crusher with it. Fuck off.
it's breaking the bulwark shield. You can break an
I
entire line of bulwark shields.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this class really has many other ways it can fucking deal with bulwarks. It's
That
another
that's
like
what I'm
crippling
saying. Yeah,
fundamental
it's
issue with the
literally
class.
you take it because you're crippled already. And then people aren't running Keystoneless Ogren, and so they just go for Feel No Pain.
Yeah, and Feel No Pain's actual effect is fucking terrible. Like,
Yep.
oh no, dude. I want to put it in
Dude,
C tier because it's better than Feel No Pain, but they both are kind of bad.
they're both bad, yeah. I'm pretty firm with D, dude. I don't think that it's a C tier. What would a C tier keystone to me be? Let me think about this for a second. For a hardcore player, it would be something that you take in a niche situation, but it does really well in that niche. And there aren't many keystones in the game that do that.
I'm open to putting this in D tier. If there was a tier in between these two, it would definitely go there.
You know what? I think C for casual is fine.
Just it's 25% damage. Like that's how I'm looking at it. Like
Yeah, I know.
that is that is okay. But it's only on heavy attack hit. Why isn't it just on all hits?
So you do get the increased damage for everything, like it applies to your
Yeah, yeah,
guns,
yeah,
applies
but
to your
you have to
bleeds,
heavy to
everything.
build it.
But you have to heavy to build it, which it's slow, dude. It's a slow process.
Dude,
I think what they need to do with this,
I hate how Ogren's identity is just I hold M1 for 2 seconds. I let go of M1.
yeah, it's silly.
Yeah, man, cuz
Um,
5 heavy attacks with Ogren is like that's like a 12-second like thing. Like that is not something you just quickly do.
what they need to do to make this feel good, at the very least, just make just getting started 25% increased attack speed. Just do it. And make it so that with every stack, you get 5% increased attack speed.
Yeah,
They had it for
honestly,
Kruber. They had it for
they
Barden.
did. They
It's
did.
not going to break the game. It's not going to break the game.
Especially when you consider that Ogren is already dog shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Feel No Pain.
Let's talk
Yeah, I
about
don't
Feel
know.
No Pain for a bit. Feel No Pain is objectively horrible in what it actually does. So,
Yeah.
for one, they nerfed this sort of low key by changing how it works. So, like, you like the stacks like peel off now instead of like yeah, there's like this weird. I'm not an Ogren player, so I'm probably not going to explain this very well. But there's like this weird like stack peeling off system now, where like instead of just taking damage and losing stacks, there's like this delay before the damage reduction kicks in again, and you lose another stack, and like it's weird. You're supposed to take like incremental hits of damage for this to really work. There's like they did something weird to this that low key nerfed it. But even if we ignore that, right? 2.5% toughness replenishment sucks. This does nothing.
It doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Ignore that line of text. This is basically coherency, toughness, regeneration. Ignore this shit. And 2.5% damage reduction, like, Zealot gets this for dodging an attack.
Well, Zealot gets literally like 2/3 of it from an aura.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for the whole team.
Zealot gets this by dodging an attack. Zealot gets double this by getting a crit. Zealot gets
Yeah.
this just by having Stalwart active. Like, Veteran gets this just by having a high amount of toughness. Psyker gets this just for activating. Like, this is not a keystone effect. This needs to be 50% damage reduction. Then we can talk. But honestly, the key issue is that tanking is not a playstyle. Losing health
No.
is not a playstyle in Tide games. It has never been a playstyle, it is never going to be a playstyle, and it is not something you should build around or try to reward because it just doesn't do anything. It is the key thing you are trying to avoid at all times. This keystone isn't just bad, it is antithetical to how the game is designed at a core level.
Yep. And then I guess so there might be a counter argument from the people who play Ogren where it's like, well, you got to take it because you're going to take damage as Ogren. But the question is, why is the class designed to take damage? Because in no situation is taking damage ever like it doesn't feel good. It never feels good. So why would you design a class around something that doesn't feel good? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make
Well,
any
it's
sense at
just
all.
25% damage reduction is literally fucking nothing. It's literally nothing. Then you consider that just by taking damage, you lose a stack. And then you like, bro, this is less damage reduction than like Psyker, Veteran, and Zealot get just for doing things that they already do. So the
Yeah.
other three classes get more damage reduction than this keystone gives you for like singular point investments. And then like the actual like effects are fucking terrible. Like these effects are fucking literally I don't think you take any of these. I actually just think you
You don't
like
actually. You
like
just take feel no
yeah,
pain.
you literally just take feel no pain and that's that. And it's
Yeah.
just like 25% damage reduction. When that's your only form of survivability. Like, it works on Zealot because he's getting that damage reduction on top of, like, 70% toughness damage reduction. I just what does damage reduction do to help you win the game? It makes you take less damage. Okay, but you already have a bunch of health, so why do you care if you take damage in the first place? Like, there's no way to work this to be an advantage. Yeah, no, I really do think 90% of Ogren's tools are unusable garbage.
Yep. And again, if you're the best player in the world and you want to do a challenge run with Ogren, like yeah,
Shut up, don't even
you
say
can
it.
do
Shut
it,
up.
but it's called a challenge run for a
It's
reason.
Ogren is so fucking terrible, just at everything all the time for
Well,
no reason.
it's like doing a soul level 1 run in Dark Souls, dude. Like you're just gimping yourself so that you can do the challenge run.
I am
All right,
very
let's
confident in this list.
yeah.
I think the people that disagree are the people that will disagree with me no matter what I say. I could place anything anywhere. I could place things exactly where they on Reddit would tell me to place things, but because I'm placing it there, they would change their opinions to say, "No, that's wrong." Okay, now we have
Oh
to
yeah.
sort this shit. All right, let's
Whew.
sort. Let's sort for the skilled amongst us first.
Okay.
I like Shout being here.
Yeah, I think it's a good placement for that.
I think Shredder. No, if we're
I
talking
think
game breaking, I think Shroudfield. Because Shroudfield, now maybe
yeah,
Shroudfield is. No, you know what? I don't think this necessarily means the strongest thing. I think this just means the most game breaking. And I definitely think Shroudfield is the
correct.
most game breaking thing because it just
Yeah.
straight up stops the AI from like running their packets and scripts.
Yeah, I mean if you ever wanted to do a Havoc 40 solo, this is the easy way to do it. You just pop the Chiefs build on and you just go.
And then I definitely think Shout is the most game breaking thing that like actually involves you still playing the game.
Correct, like in a legitimate way, yeah.
Shredders are definitely more game impacting than knives because you throw more shredders and each shredder does more than each knife. Knives are venting shrieks. So venting shriek enables overcapping. No, it's got to be overcapping dots, dude. That shit is fucking retarded. That shit's actually
Yeah.
fucking retarded. That should not
We
be in the game.
we we live in a meta where also where there's like so many enemies on the screen that uncapped AoE damage, which in Darktide is dots basically, is so valuable.
Yeah,
I
because it
think
just
that
sits
Venting
there and
Shriek
keeps dealing
is
damage.
better.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
survivalist, no, it's got to be survivalist because of Havoc. Purely because of
It
Havoc.
enables
Maybe
you, yeah.
maybe knives really aren't game breaking because they don't really do anything you can't do without them. I mean, I guess they enable the flamer, which is crazy, and they do enable you to use some exploits with like animation canceling. They're like the lightest version of game breaking I think it can be.
Now that you say that, I think they're not. I think they're
Yeah,
just
I don't
S
think they're
tier.
game breaking at all.
They're just
I
good.
think they're just top of
They're
S
just
tier.
good.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they don't really break any core aspects of the game. Like,
Yep. They're just
yeah.
good. They got good placement. They make Zealot be able to do, you know, good things. It's good.
Okay, now S tier. Throwing that. Okay, let's. What is the best thing in here? Is it Martin off? um, it might be throwing knives, honestly, because they just one shot everything. You just throw them, and it's just a hit scan one shot that deals with every single problem.
I'm trying to think
Maybe
about the
it's Fury,
context.
because Fury is really good.
So what I was gonna say was that knives have like, you know, that primo placement on the talent tree, but so
Mm-hmm.
does Fury. Fury the Faithful
Exactly.
also
Yeah.
has that. They're both kind of in that mandatory trajectory that you have to take as a zealot. But
Yeah,
at the
guys, if
same
you didn't know, Zealot
time,
has one build. Zealot and Ogren, they have
yeah,
one build that's actually good, and everything else is just kind of worse.
exactly. I'm gonna give it to knives because knives
Yeah.
still work really well with stealth builds and with book builds. You still
Yeah,
use them. They're still very
and they're
effective.
better placed than this because you're always
Yeah.
you might go out, you might have to go, you have to, yeah, all right.
But I am confident that Fury of the Faithful is better than Weapon Specialist. But I like Weapon Specialist being third, with Blazing Piety there being fourth, because that's what the majority of people are going to take.
I
Um,
definitely think Martyrdom is stronger than Benediction.
it is. It is. I think Benediction is in S tier because you're taking it anyways. But I would say that it's actually at the bottom of the list with Seer's Presence being above it in
That's
terms of
fair.
actual effectiveness. There you go. Yep. So this placement right here, I'm very satisfied with.
Yeah, yeah, because you can't really play this too much outside of ball spam
Mm-mm.
in Havoc, whereas this stuff you're kind of always seeing in it.
Yep.
All right, A tier.
I think Smite takes top of A tier.
I
Yeah.
fucking hate that. I'm actually gonna fucking hang myself, dude. Oh my god. And I think you're right. I mean, I was
Yeah.
moving it there before you even said it.
Smite takes top of A tier. I think Book is actually second, followed by March Target.
Yeah, that's kind of what I
Um,
was thinking. Maybe Book goes above Smite. I don't want to put Smite as borderline S tier, man. That feels like sacrilegious,
no,
dude. That feels
it's
fucking
just
sacrilegious. But it's so good now.
it's
Like
good.
fuck. It does so much damage on Havoc. And man, does it cross the barrier? Cause
I'm
like
thinking. I'm
it
thinking.
holds everything in place. And it deals like million plus damage easily. It's just so boring and it nerfs your teammates a little bit. Stops their dodge buffs. But fuck,
Sure.
man. I'm so torn. Like it's so close to S tier. And then it buffs all the dot damage too. Like that's the crazy thing.
Well, so Book can do the same thing, but with Book, you have a kind of a 10-second cooldown, and you yourself aren't doing damage.
But that's the thing. Smite does so much fucking damage on
But
those
then
hordes.
Smite does damage. Yeah.
So even though you're stopping what you're doing, you kind of just don't care. You kind of don't care.
Well, you're performing your role is what you're doing,
Because
and you're
and
doing damage
because
at the same
because
time.
like you get the 50% spread with this dude, you're fucking doing 50 damage a second to like 20 guys. And as long as there's always 20 guys on the screen, it's like 50 a second, 50 times 20 every second for like minutes on end. And then those things can't move, so like fuck.
So if we were to take like a bad Smite Psyker and put them side by side with a really good Void Blast Shrieker, who's more effective? Honestly, who's more effective?
Oh
You can
fuck.
tell me the truth. Who's more
I,
effective?
I'm thinking. I'm thinking. I actually have to think about it.
Yeah. If it's the Smite
Is
Psyker,
is
even
the
if it's a
Smite
mediocre
Psyker
player,
is the Smite Psyker using Venting Shrieker Bubble?
mm, I think because you have to ask that question.
Well, because I was
Well,
gonna say,
no, because
Smite
even
with Venting
so,
Shriek is fucking S tier, dude. Going
it
offensive
is.
with it,
Yeah.
like going full aggro offense with Smite, shit will die way faster than you think it will.
But even with the bubble, dude, like it's still if you're playing the game like a turtle, your team doesn't care about how fast you're moving through a 40.
It's definitely
It's
worse with
still
bubble,
really
but it's
good.
still, yeah, it's still really. I okay. Let's say this: it's top of A tier with bubble combo. It's low S tier with fucking Venting Shriek combo. Dude,
Yeah.
you know what?
I think I'm
Is there a chance Smite is actually just game breaking because nothing can move
yeah,
and it's
I
still
I
doing
think
all this damage?
I think it's fair to put it in game breaking. I don't know if I'd put it above survivalist aura. You could
Like,
definitely run a team of 4 psychers with one of them running smite, and survivalist aura is not a factor. Like Or
I
two
don't
of
know,
them running
man.
Smite. Fuck it.
Honestly, I am genuinely kind of torn on Smite's placement a little bit because I actually went in and I played this shit myself on multiple games.
I did too. It's good.
And
Yeah.
and yeah, like I was topping the damage charts every single time and I was like watching YouTube for half the run. Like,
Yeah, I think this is the one where we leave it up to the comments. I think I'm satisfied with the high A, low S. But what do you guys think in the comments? Where does Smite belong? And if you haven't tried it, try it.
yeah, it's
Like
like shockingly
we're
I
not fucking with you.
I'm
Like
the
it's
biggest
actually
Smite
good.
hater on planet Earth, and I'm considering putting it in game breaking. Like, it is that good. I don't know, man. This is
Yeah.
hard.
It is. It is. Let's move on, and then if we got to come back to
Yeah,
it, like if
yeah.
we think of any ideas or
Book is
whatever, we can move it.
absolutely the next thing in A tier. Book is fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
Mark
good. The
Target, I
suppression
quite
alone is
like.
crazy.
I kind of feel like warp charges are better than Mark Target.
Yes, because
30%
you're taking
damage
it.
to Soul Blaze is just nutty.
And psychers are always taking it with veterans. There's the chance that you're going to be running weapon
Dude, and then
specialists.
hold on. This is 30% damage for Smite, which is amplified by this 200. So this is more like fucking 90% Smite
You
damage. Like,
you
oh
can't
my.
run two keystones. You can't run two.
Oh yeah,
You
okay.
can't run two
I'm fucking.
keystones.
I thought this was an ability for some reason. Why did I think this was an ability, dude? I've been talking for too long. I recorded 3 takes of this that got like an hour in and scrapped them. I've been talking about this tier list for like 5 hours straight. Like you can hear it in my voice. That's my one blunder. Mike, edit that. Mike, edit that out. BBC Mike, edit that out. Okay.
You get one.
Disrupt Destiny and this is God, imagine if you could though, and this was like 90%
Oh, that'd be
damage increase
nuts.
with
Yeah.
this. Dude, this would be like in its own tier. This would be the best thing in the game. Anyway, yeah, I think Destiny's just on average worse than this.
Yeah. Because there are veterans who will actually think about bringing the focus target. When it comes to Disrupt Destiny, you're not really considering bringing Disrupt Destiny into Havoc, especially
Like
with
for a
the
Void
ammo
Strike stack, you
economy
will.
and all that stuff. You
But
will,
yeah,
but who's running Void Strike when Smite exists?
yeah. All right. And then these two
And
are
then the ogre
yeah.
and shit. Yep.
All right, B tier. I think this is top of B tier.
Yeah, I think Executioner's stance is probably second to
I
last.
yeah, no, I think it's the worst thing on here,
If
dude.
not,
Maybe it's worse than Rock, but like
it might be worse than Rock. Yeah.
I kind of feel like Brain Burst is better than Momentum. Like, cause I kind
It
of feel like
is.
Momentum is not that great.
It is. Momentum I think is fine where it is. Yep, then I think Rock is actually better than Crit Aura. Not gonna
Really,
lie. Yeah.
5% crit for
I
all
think it
4 players.
yeah, but that crit doesn't do anything for Ogre, and the Rock like completely enables Ogre. I
Yeah,
guess in
but
terms of
fuck
effectiveness,
Ogre, dude.
the crit's better for the team, but the Rock is better for the Ogre.
All right, that settles it. Get fucked. Get
There you
fucked.
go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and Ogre is the worst fucking class. So the best thing for the worst player. Okay.
That's true. Yeah, that's true when you put it that way. Yep.
All right, C tier.
Bubble is definitely on top. I don't think a sale beats Bubble in tryhard content
No, I feel
because
like it's
tryhards
no. I
are
think a
tryhards
sale
taking
does.
a sale.
No, but when you do, there's a lot more you can do with a sail, and it definitely performs better
Gotcha.
than a bubble. Because, like, dude, being able to cancel the ending lag of your animations with this, if you're gonna macro it, then yeah, this is top of C tier.
One thing I will say, I know that um, the Purity Aura is only in C tier because of that one modifier,
And then it's
but
going to the
it
bottom of C
because
tier.
I would say it goes to the top because it becomes a must take when you're
No,
facing that modifier.
no, no. I can't give something that specific that high of a rating. Did honestly, I kind of want to put this in like its own tier because this really is only pulled out in one circumstance with one team comp. Like it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about this.
I kind of want to
When
put
you
it
have
in.
a Smite Psyker,
I kind of
when you
want to
have a
put it in
Smite
B
Psyker,
tier.
do you need this? When you have a Smite Psyker, do you even need it? If everything is going to be held
No,
away from the team, do you need this?
no, but you should still take it because people will just want to run through the puddles anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
This is going in D tier, but it gets a very special mention in that, like, you have to bring it one time. But dude, it's so fucking bad. It's so fucking bad
Yeah.
everywhere else.
The point tax alone is just like, blah.
Yeah. Okay,
But
Bubble
yeah, for
is
everything
next.
else,
I think Loner goes at the end here, dude. Loner is fucking garbage. It doesn't do anything.
well, zealots just aren't bringing it for this try hard content. Even for a true solo, like the zealots who are running Fury of the Faithful
Dude, I can tell you
aren't
right
taking
now.
Lonar.
Yeah, the most popular true solo build for people is this, this, and this.
Yeah,
And this. Basically all the S tier stuff. No, people are not really
yeah.
running Loner because Loner means Shroudfield, and Shroudfield means a bunch of angry comments. Yeah, no, I'm putting
The
Shroudfield. I'm putting Loner in like D tier. It has a build, but I don't think having a build where it is useful is enough to justify it. I think the actual effect of Loner is just so fucking weak
yeah.
because coherency is just weak. Okay,
For everything else,
yeah, I think this is kind of fair. I'm putting this above the nuke because the nuke is literally a one-time use thing. The nuke is fucking terrible.
yeah.
And like at least this is active the entire run.
I'm actually gonna say that the what is it called, kinetic presence or whatever. I think that's a bit better than immolation grenade
Yeah,
because when
cuz
you are
it's
running double psyker, like one of the psychers is gonna take this. So
and 7.5% damage for all your dots against every crusher, mauler, rager, like all that shit is actually pretty substantial. Okay, we have a lot to
okay,
organize in D tier.
yeah.
What is the best thing here in D tier? Probably the stun grenade.
No, the point tax is too much, bro. It's just no.
Is there a chance that it's fire team because 5% dot damage?
I think it's fire team in the event that you have two veterans.
I don't know, man. Yeah,
Guys, we're
that's
being really quiet right now because we are legitimately thinking about this. Like this is
all of
hard.
this all of this stuff is super bad. Like I don't run
Okay, okay. Well,
I
let's get this out of the way. Put the ogre and stuff at the
at the
bottom.
bottom. Yeah, okay.
Put the ogre and
That's
stuff at the
fair.
bottom. This helps
This is the
us
worst.
compartmentalize this.
This is definitely next word. No, honestly, fucking this is better than this. Um
Box bad, dude. I think
dude,
box is
bo-
just.
box is fucking
Yep, there you go.
terrible. No, dude, this aura
Box in
has
the
to
middle of those two
toughness.
auras.
It's toughness regeneration
That
speed.
aura
This
is
has to
the
be the worst thing in
worst
the game.
thing in the game. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And then
Now let's ask ourselves: is there a world where stun grenades are actually? Oh, the ogre abilities. Put the ogre abilities at the bottom too. Just put them right above
I'll put
Feel
them
No Pain.
above. Yeah.
There you go. So, is there a world where stun storm grenades are better than marksman's focus or vice versa?
Oh, I think they're absolutely better than marksman's focus. It's just is the point tax too much.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the actual grenade is like A tier. The actual grenade is good. It's just getting the grenade is the problem. I think it is. I think it's better than marksman's focus. Because without the columnus in the meta, marksman's focus basically doesn't do anything for any gun.
Yeah. Um.
What, are you going to take this with a plasma gun?
Fuck no, dude.
Exactly. It kind of doesn't do anything. Okay, I think the move speed aura is also kind of up here because the move speed aura might be the best thing in here. But fuck, man, points, no. It's so hard to fit it in a build.
No, the point tax. Yeah. This order might be
No, you know
the
what?
order.
Smoke grenades. I think smoke grenades are up here. I think smoke grenades are the second best thing on here because they aren't as point tax heavy as the aura because it's a grenade and three of them are lined up. Like you just pick one node down and go left.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
But like you can at least sometimes make this do something.
I think it's definitely a better pick than Infiltrate for the purpose of suppressing gunners
Yeah, yeah.
because you get the smokes back. Like it's gonna happen. Um, and like I said, I've seen people run smokes for speed runs and
I
stuff like
think
that. I think it
cracks are
is
better than
up there.
marksman's focus. I would rather see someone with crack grenades than marksman's focus.
Yeah, if someone's gonna bring cracks with focus target, I'm not
I
gonna
would
be
I
mad.
Yeah, I would rather see this and this than like this and this.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I think this
I like
is
this for
yeah,
tryhards. I like this. Yeah,
I
I'm
think this is
content.
okay. All right, now we got to do casual stuff.
I think Smite's the top of game breaking for casual.
I think this
There you
combo
go.
is the top of game breaking.
There you go. Yep.
This shit is so good. Motherfuckers with like 10 hours in the game will just keep going up and up and up and up and up in difficulty until they end up at Auric Maelstrom at like true level like 31. And they're just like, all right, guys, I'm going to do this. And then they fucking do like 700,000 damage and you like want to uninstall the game.
Yep.
Okay, I think this is
S
ordered
tiers?
correctly. S
It
tier.
is. Yeah. And then S tier is pretty interesting.
I think this is the bottom of S tier.
Yeah. Yep.
I think this is way higher because it's just 25% crit for doing nothing. This is probably the bottom of S tier. This is above focus target for sure. This is also above focus target. I think book is better than charge for a casual Guilo because like dude 100 gold toughness is fucking that will straight up carry you for like an
I
entire event.
I think if we're gonna say that, then I think that the book is actually the top of S tier because of the
Yeah.
suppression it brings to the table, the crowd control. Like for a lot of the casuals, it really makes life way easier.
It is just a one button all melee stops for 10 seconds, all guns stop for 10 seconds and you have like double defenses
Yeah. And then
and bosses are
yeah,
stopped as well.
blazing shredders. Yep, I think shredders are really good there because of the talent placement and then all the things that shredders do.
I think this is fair.
This is good. And I will remark that Blazing Piety probably is the best keystone in the game for casual players,
Well,
especially
yeah,
with its
cuz
synergy with
20
Invocation of Death.
25% crit chance is just a lot. 1 in 4 attacks crit and it's
Yep.
just active for 100% of the run.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay, A tier.
I think it sells the best thing in here, dude. It's so fucking good when you suck at the game. You just
Yeah, I'm
you
thinking
just do
about
this
this from a
ping ping
casual
ping ping ping
perspective.
ping 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 and then everything in front of you falls over.
Warp Siphon above Immolation Grenade because Psychers effectively are Immolation Grenades when
I'm
you're
gonna put
using Warp
Immolation
Siphon.
Grenade like near the bottom because if you don't run Uncanny, it fucking sucks. And if you know enough to
That's
run
true.
Uncanny with this, you're probably breaking
You're
out of
probably
the
running the
casual
knives.
time tier.
Yeah.
Like,
The crit aura, I don't think on I think even for casuals, venting shriek is still better than
oh
the
yeah,
the crit aura.
I think the crit aura is like down here.
Yeah, I like this.
I think Warp Siphon's better than Weapon Specialist. If you like because you have to actively input Weapon Specialist.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about this from a casual perspective. I like this.
Because like think
This is
about it.
good.
This increases this 30% damage for this and like minus 30% peril generation for this. So you just use
Yep.
these together and then like don't even think you just
You just do the assails.
whereas this you gotta like swap and you can double swap and stuff.
Yep. Okay, so B tier then.
It's gotta be bubble.
It's Bubble. Bubble's at the top of B for sure,
And then I think
followed by
probably
Brain Burst.
yeah.
Yep. I think Disrupt's Destiny is better than Executioner Stance
I
too.
think
Like,
now that it's received like 5 fucking bug fixes over the course of its life and it actually works incredibly
yeah,
consistently now, yeah, I agree.
that's good. C tier.
I got to. There is no universe where this is worse than this.
Oh
Honestly, I
yeah, for
kind of
sure.
I kind of think this should line up.
Momentum Uh, yeah.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
8%, even if it averages out to 8% damage and attack speed, bro, that's like not bad on
Yeah.
some. Like, I'd rather have permanent 8% damage and attack speed than 5 times per game, 25% damage.
But kinetic presence is just that for your team, though. 7.5 compared to
All
8%
right, you know what?
average.
Fair.
Yeah.
D tier.
Okay, D.
What is the best thing on here? It's gotta be stuns
It's got to
followed
be
by
the stun
cracks.
storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then cracks. Yeah. And then
Because
serious presence because the placement.
all this other shit requires you to like have advanced knowledge to make it do anything.
Correct. I like this. I like this placement there.
And then hurts
And
you.
then let's see what is
What hurts you the least? What hurts you the least out of everything on here? Probably marksman's focus. Uh then probably smokes.
No, because for the lower ends, dude, the lower end of the spectrum here, smokes are actually a detriment. Like people
They're
literally miss
blind, they can't
specials.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. I think smokes rank a bit lower.
All right. This
Um,
this is not good, but it hurts you the least. Loner is the same way. I
yeah.
think Loner, like, because if it ever activates, it actually does something, even if 90% of the time it does
Right,
nothing.
yeah.
This mostly
Martyrdom
does
just gets
nothing.
the zealot killed for casual players. Box literally just doesn't do anything. You're just giving the point
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't know. This is actually really bad. Um,
I think Point Blank Barrage does rank above
okay.
Martyrdom.
Here's how I look at this. These three genuinely will get you and your teammates killed by
Yes.
actively taking things away. Because
Yep.
with Martyrdom, if you suck at the game, like if you're actually genuinely bad at the game, giving up your 3 curios and trying to sit at lower health will actually just get you killed. Taking up all
Yeah.
the ammo on the map will just get your teammates killed because they can't snipe specials anymore. And smokes, I think smokes are probably the best of the three because all smokes do is temporarily blind you. Whereas this actively lowers your health to a dangerous threshold for shitty players, and this actively, so it's really between these two.
I think the gunluggers taking all the ammo from the team is still worse.
Yeah, because
Especially
at
when
least
we
Martyrdom can work, and when it works, it's really fucking good. So like with Martyrdom, it's just a skill issue when it hurts you.
yeah.
But Gunlugger, even if you're really good, still takes all the ammo just by design.
Yeah. And then when you look at this from like a spectrum of like from the lowest difficulty in the game and then to maybe someone who kind of casually dips their toes into Auric Maelstrom, like point blank barrage on a 3 veg is gonna fuck your team over. Unless you're the only person on the team who uses ammo and you're running with 3 psychers or something.
All right, I think this looks pretty good. I'm gonna put
Yeah,
this up
yeah.
here. I'm gonna get rid of this. I
There
think
you go.
I think this is it. I think this is probably gonna be the last Darktide ranking I ever do. There might be one other one, but
You don't think you'll come back if they do the ogre rework and
no, I don't give a fuck, dude.
it's actually good?
I don't give a fuck about Ogrin, dude. Fat Shark literally cannot make something good with that class. They can't. I don't believe it. Watch them make it even worse.
Oh my gosh. I haven't even considered
Yeah,
that
why
possibility.
why does everyone think, dude, motherfuckers like
I
Hank
didn't even
are gonna be
consider
the
that.
ones giving the feedback? And Hank unironically would put this shit in like S tier, dude. Like, are you kidding? Do you actually think they're gonna get good? Dude, unless our Lord and Savior, like, dude, you know that gif of the guy where he's like, please, Donald Trump, save me. I'm literally sitting here like, please, Reginald and JSAT, save us from the shitty Ogren rework.
Yeah.
What, you think like fucking Hank and like Avery are gonna give good fucking advice? Absolutely not. They're gonna fucking make the class even worse if they get their way. No, man.
We'll
uh,
see.
but yeah,
Maybe in September when they do another like shakeup of the talent tree and they nerf Invocation of Death into the ground. Maybe then.
I think for at the very least this version of Darktide, I think this is at the very least 98% objectively accurate.
Yeah, it's good.
I think arguing against this is delusional, and my ideas are the correct ones.
Well, not only that, but for anyone in the comments who might have an argument or like who would want to debate this, like consider what we debated
Consider that
and
I don't
what we
fucking care
discussed.
anymore.
That as well.
The way I say it to people is I say, man, if your strats and ideas were better than mine, you would have beat me to Havoc or to like the gray maelstrom shit, and but you didn't. So I don't care anymore. I don't follow this game anymore or play it or deal with the community. So
True.
you could lick my nuts for all I care. This is the truth. The one truth.
And with all that being said, don't forget to subscribe to Mystery.
Dude. Fuck, man. He's too hard to
Thank you
book.
for
We were gonna
listening.
have him for this. He's too hard to book, dude.
He is.
All right. I'll see you guys later.